And when I wandered into the living room, I saw this like yellow angel entity like in the middle of the living room, and it was glowing and beautiful. And I had this knowing that I wasn't going to regret a day in my life, and that this was a chance that I was given to come back. So this is where the alien stuff comes in.
Mm-hmm. But I did experience my first NDE when I was 5. First, when I got ran over, I like rolled under the whole car. I saw like the whole thing in slow motion. And then from there, I blacked out. And then I just remember going to this all white space. And then there was pillars all around on the side of me. But those pillars are kind of like the Egyptian stone in a way. So like Egyptian, kind of Greekish in a way. And then I just see pillars on the side of me. And then in front of me stood some guy. The way I can describe it, almost like Zeus in a way.
Welcome to Awaken the Minds. I'm Monica.
And I'm Mikael. Together we're your guides on this journey of exploration and awakening.
Here on Awaken the Minds, we dive deep into the mysteries of life and beyond, from spirituality and reincarnation
to marriage, personal growth, and the secrets of the universe. And yes, we'll even talk about aliens.
Because let's face it, the truth is out there, and so is the love and wisdom we all need to evolve. So whether you're seeking answers or just curious about the unseen forces shaping our reality,
you found your tribe and the vibes.
So let's awaken the minds together.
Welcome back to Awaken the Minds, the space where curiosity meets consciousness and inner truth rises to the surface. Today's conversation invites us into the subtle realm between discipline and devotion, intuition and embodiment, mystery and mastery. Our guest is a psychic medium, breathwork facilitator, and yoga instructor whose intuitive gifts have been present since childhood. Born in California, raised in New Orleans, her journey weaves together the rigor of classic Russian ballet, the courage of a single motherhood, and a decade-long commitment to spiritual practice lived with humility and integrity. She doesn't approach spirituality as performance. She lives it as a lifelong discipline, from altered states of consciousness that arise through invitation to the heart-centered awakening that ripples into the collective. Her work reminds us that mastery comes from presence, patience, and deep self-trust. This episode is an exploration of intuition, altered states, spiritual integrity, relationships as teachers, and the courage to stand fully in who you are without permission. Beautiful souls, take a deep breath, open your heart, and let's awaken the minds together and help us welcome Lauren.
Woo! Wow, thank you so much. Welcome. It's such an honor to be here.
How are you feeling?
I feel great.
Yeah. You look great.
I'm feeling wonderful.
She's like, I got all the dog love. I got all the cat love.
I feel like my Egyptian.
And like my Egyptian past life. Just coming in and rippling in.
Mm-hmm.
Perfect.
Would you mind giving us a little bit more of your background and the things, well, first who you are and the things that you do, so that our audience gets kind of a picture of the things that you do, so that moving forward they can somewhat understand. If not, they can always rewind this back and go back to that. But if you mind giving us a little bit more information about you and what you do, that way our audience gets a good idea of who you are.
Sure. Well, I am a psychic medium, and I mean that started from the age of 3, like as soon as I could speak and see, I knew I could do this. I'm a yoga teacher. I'm a breathwork facilitator, and so I mostly give one-on-one sessions with people, just virtually psychic readings, and I help them with their life and guide people. And in breathwork, I teach holotropic breath work, which activates DMT in the brain and shifts your consciousness. And people have, these outer body experiences.
Awesome. What message do you have to the world that is going to make them watch this episode? What's your message to the world why they should stay to watch this episode today?
My message to the world and why they should stay and watch. Because maybe you're going to see and hear and witness some things that maybe you didn't know were possible. and are going to blow your mind.
Oh, okay.
I mean, they blow mine. I mean, that's why that's why I would watch.
Yeah, 100%.
Stay tuned. Where are we all watching?
Yeah. It's usually what I would like you to open your minds to the possibilities.
I love that.
And
Open
I
mind,
can
open heart.
share through my experience with spirit and how it shows up.
Awesome. And when you, as my husband was saying, you had this gift since you were a kid.
Mm-hmm.
So how were you afraid of it when it showed up the first time, and how did it show up the first time? Do you remember?
I remember the day.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay. Can you walk us through that?
I mean, and it sounds a little like, if you think of a 3-year-old now, and I look at a 3-year-old and I'm like, really? But it really, I remember it just like it was yesterday. Awesome. And I have a lot of these experiences I remember in that way. But it was my brother's birthday, and there was like a party at the house, and I had wandered into the living room. And when I wandered into the living room, I saw this like yellow angel entity like in the middle of the living room, and it was glowing and beautiful. And I had this knowing that I wasn't going to regret a day in my life, and that this was a chance that I was given to come back.
Wow. So did you remember your life, like your past life at the moment?
Since I was a little kid.
Really?
And I would tell my mom about it and draw pictures of it.
No way.
Yeah. And I would dream in different languages.
Good.
And so I think I was born a dreamer. I mean, as you know, like certain tribal cultures, there's like a dreamer in the tribe. But I was born doing this, and I did sleepwalk, and I had really weird like sleep behaviors as a child. But I would remember lives and tell my mom about it. And when I was 6, I asked her to buy me papyrus paper, and I was writing in hieroglyphics on the papers. Wow. And obsessed with Egypt, and I tried to make my skin brown. I was like, I would keep telling her my skin is supposed to be brown, and I would be trying. I was really pale when I was younger, and I would try to make, and I still kind of do that, but but not like as a kid. It was different. And I also wrote with both hands, and so my teachers called my parents and said they think I'm cheating because I had so many different handwritings when I was a kid. Yeah. What? And it was just because
you just are connected.
Universal.
You're just universal.
I don't know what I am, but
you're like, I am the universe.
Yeah.
That's insane. Wow. And do you still have those pictures?
Yeah, I still have, and I would draw them. I would make art out of it. I have journals from the time I was 6 years old. So my parents put journals in our stockings at Christmas, and so I started journaling. I have every one of them in my garage, and all I did was write about God and the angels and the things that I saw, and poems and all kinds of stuff.
That's insane. I can really relate to that because when I was growing up, I knew that I could see the dead, and my encounter was not pretty. The first time I knew that I had that ability. My mom thought I would watch scary movies, and she'd be like, you need to stop watching scary movies, and it was crazy because I mean, in the Mexican culture, this is very common. So my mom just was like, no, this is like not happening to my daughter. Like, she's just probably just scared. She's watching scary movies. And I remember one time I heard we had moved into this complex where there's a lot of violence in that neighborhood. And I'm talking like gangs after gangs. And I remember that when we moved in, I had told my mom I didn't like this house. I was like, I don't like this house. This house like does not give me, like, I'm scared of this house. And my mom was like, no, you're a kid. You're like obviously always watching scary movies, so you don't know this, And I was just like, no, I know this. Like, this is scary, And I would always tell her, I was like, it reminds me of The Ring. It reminds me of like when she like comes out of like the black hole, and she was like, no, you're fine. And one day I had woken up because I heard my closet crack open, and I was like, what the heck? Is like my brother maybe like going through my clothes, or he trying to scare me or something? I kid you not, the room turns cold, like straight cold, like if we were in midwinter. And I turn around and I see this guy like duck down, and he comes out of my closet, and he goes like this, and he stands in the corner of my room, and his smile was like from here to here, and he had black eyes. He was like in a suit, and I was terrified because I was like, oh my God, like this is scary. And I had to rant to my mom like several times, and she didn't believe me until something happened to her, and she was like, oh, I believe you now. You know?
Yeah.
So I was just kind of like, then after that, when a lot of things like that started happening to me, I used to dream a lot about Jesus and Michael, Archangel Michael, that he would fight demons for me. And I would always dream about it. And I would always wake up and I would tell my mom, and I'd be like, Mom, like I had a dream with Jesus, and I had a dream with like Saint Michael, and he told me that they're fighting for me, like they're fighting the demons, they're fighting this and that, whatever. And I would draw them too. Like I would draw them. I would also write about them. I would write about places that I would visit in my dreams, that to this day, now I understand where those dreams came from. But I was about 5 years old when that like kind of like started happening to me. Yeah, it was really interesting. That's awesome.
And how about now?
I still have a lot of dreams, but I understand them now, that I'm not afraid of them anymore. You know, I think as a kid, your parents try to like put it under the rug and like not really listen to it. So that makes you kind of feel scared because nobody understands you. I mean, at least for me, you know.
My parents knew. Like my mom grew up in a haunted house. And
Oh, wow.
My dad saw, it was, the psychic comes from my dad. Really, I think comes from my dad and his mother.
Oh.
And my dad saw colors around people, and so they were like, no, this happens. And so I always approached it very curious.
That's so
I saw the
cool.
deceased too, and my mom was an artist, and she was the one that would be like, just draw a picture of it and show me what it is, and what do you think, and what do you feel? Oh my gosh, you know. But she grew up in a really haunted house, and so she totally was open, like understood
and
and told me how to talk to it. Actually,
Oh, wow.
yeah, she was like taught me how to confront them and how to tell them that you have to talk to it like a person and tell it to leave.
Yeah, you pretty much have to do. You can't treat it as something else. You have to treat it as if it's human. Like if right here, like we're having a conversation, and just have a literally conversation with them and be like, all right, well, this is not where you need to be. You got to go somewhere else. I didn't learn that until maybe I was about maybe early 20s. That's when I kind of started learning like, oh, I shouldn't be afraid of it, because it happened to me until high school, and I was just kind of like, oh my God, this is so scary, because I didn't understand anything, you know. And then the older I have gotten, I'm like, oh, okay. I get a little scared sometimes still, but I understand it now. So it's a little different. So no, my family, my mom, she's seen a lot of things, but she was always like, no. Like, this is not real. And then my dad was super religious. Like, we're talking about Catholic. We grew up to the core. To this day, he's very Catholic. So we sometimes bump heads because of that. Because I'm like, I don't believe that's true, but I love that for you, you know.
Yeah.
And I think you're on the right path, Dad. Somehow, you know. But no, I didn't grow up with anybody kind of understanding that, so I kind of had to understand that myself. But it's fine. I'm here now.
Yeah, spirits are attracted to teenage female energy
That's interesting. Do you know why?
because of the energy.
Oh, the feminine energy.
Woman going through puberty.
So you guys are pure.
Makes sense. He's like, I already knew this.
Yeah, it's crazy that you guys remember like all these things that happened to you guys, that you like both of you guys have that in common, where you guys remember things from like 3, 4, 5. Like I barely remember what happened yesterday, you know.
Well, he had an NDE.
And but I did experience my first NDE when I was 5.
And you remember that?
I remember the whole thing.
Yeah. What was it?
Well, first when I got ran over, I like rolled into the whole car. I saw like the whole thing in slow motion. And then from there I blacked out. And then I just remember going to this all white space. And then there was pillars all around on the side of me. But those pillars are kind of like the like Egyptian stone in a way. So like Egyptian, kind of Greekish in a way. And then I just see pillars on the side of me, and then in front of me stood some guy. The way I can describe it, almost like Zeus in a way. Like if you picture Zeus on a throne sitting there, that's pretty much what I saw. And I was like, oh, that's crazy. Like I didn't know what was going on at that time. I was 5. I was probably like the first out of body experience I went through, the first spiritual, I guess you could say, awakening or or vision of something that's not physical that I've experienced. And then from there, kind of, I don't remember what he told me, because he was talking to me as he was kind of like walking me back to the light, back to my body. But I'm soon to figure that out. Still looking to reconnect to that. But that was pretty much it. Like from there, and then after that, I just started having a bunch of different out of body experiences. Most of them were sleep paralysis, which I didn't understand at the time. Like I was always running from them. Like I don't know what was going on with different entities I'm encountering during a sleep paralysis dreams or whatever, you know, getting chased or not, or me like just entering a room and I'm like, kind of looks like my room, but it's not my room. It's kind of like that hazy field, and then I'm just like seeing different entities, and I'm like, all right, time to wake up. Had to get out of here.
And then he also had ended up getting a reading from this lady that tried to access the Akashic records for him. And she was like, honestly, I can't. And then he was like, why? And then she said, because you had a soul swap. So then he ended up having a soul swap. We ended up doing mushrooms for his birthday. No, actually for my brother. We ended up doing one for my brother, and we did like a whole mushroom ceremony for him. And from there, I remember when we were trying to help my brother in his journey, I ended up grabbing his hand because I had already gotten the message that we need to like unite his physical body and his soul together, because his physical body was has been fighting it for so long, because it feels like it wasn't supposed to belong to that soul. So it was like rejecting it in a way, where he was points in his life where even like when we first started dating, where he was very foreign to himself. It was very interesting to watch him as of like when I first met him to now. Very interesting, the evolution that has occurred between those times. And when we had that mushroom experience, I had grabbed his hand and I told him to give me your hand. Like I told him, give me your hand. And he was like, oh, for what? And I'm like, just give me your hand. So when I grabbed his hand, I see the person that he soul swapped with, like the soul that he swapped with. And I start talking to him, but he starts like laughing at me. And it's funny because the girl that was talking to him, she was like, he's laughing at me. And I was just like, that's funny, because I just remembered right now that he was laughing at me. And he was like, you can't do nothing. Like, and he was just like laughing, like hysterically laughing. His energy looked very dark in a sense. And I was just kind of like, okay, like, so what do you want? I was just like, because you can't keep going this path. You can't disrupt what he came here to do. You either unite to him or you don't. And so then I was just like, do you want to continue to be stuck in the realm where you can't go back to rest your soul, or do you want to move forward and end this life right? And when I had said that, like he turned like all white, like he became a light. He became a like light. And as soon as he said that, he was just like, no, I want to end this life right. And I was just like, then do right. And so when I said that, he was like, you're right. I saw like his body in like a ball. It was it can describe the color of what his body aura was. And his light was very, very bright. And I just remember it coming together and it became one, and it became into a beautiful orange gold bowl. Like, it was beautiful. I've never seen a color like that. Like, to this day, I like tried to envision how it looked, but it was so beautiful that when it became that, I was just like, thank you. I remember I had said that, and he was like, wait, don't go. And I remember like the same little light, he's like, take this because you're gonna need it, and you helped me become one. And I remember just like the whole, like when he almost let go of my hand, I remember like my whole hand just turned like warm, like warm. It was insane. Yeah.
When was this?
When was this? Wait, we did
3 months ago. 2 months ago.
Really?
Yeah.
Wait, so we're in December, in October?
October.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, around there. Yeah. He's like, here, let me pull my cards real
I
quick.
can see what card it is.
What'd you get? What'd you get?
The Empress.
What does that mean?
The Empress. The Empress. It was just, well, she's like a female, like
Okay.
she's abundant.
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 Abundant. That's that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I would have to, I'm like very curious what
Okay,
they would
do
say
it.
about that.
Here, I hold your mic.
Okay,
Let's
okay.
go live.
All right.
Let's do it.
Well, let me just do a vibe check on him.
Okay, yeah, go ahead.
Every month.
Yes, I can. Can you?
And so are you like you're a May Gemini? Or wait, May what? May 23rd. Oh my God, no, really? Really? Dude, that birthday's been coming up lately.
Interesting.
The early Mays. Well, all my grandparents are Geminis. So I just
what?
always, yeah.
That's so cool. All right.
It's funny too when I had the accident.
You want me to hold your mic? Are you good? Yeah.
So when I had that accident, I was 5.
I got you. Yeah.
My birthday is May, which is the 5th.
Just do this.
My day equals the 5th if you add 2 and 3, which is 5. So all the synchronicity of the 5s in my life.
Yeah.
And then what kind of reading are we doing? So the audience knows what kind of reading
She's
we're
so
doing.
excited. I'm excited with her.
Well, so you say, I call on your ancestors, your higher self. I ask for messages from the highest frequencies of light, of truth, of love to illuminate your path, to show us what you need to know for the highest good of your soul, for the highest good of all. Oh, okay. So what they say about you, interesting. So the way you dress, first thing they talk about is, do you have a clothing line or something? No,
She does.
you do. Okay, interesting. Well, they talk, so in your heart space is the Two of Wands, so what I do, so a shaman actually taught me how to go into the cards this way. And I go into the head and then I go into the heart, right? So to me, it's like 3D, 5D. It's like I can see. And with Two of Wands in the heart space is like, you know how to connect with people. The two is the pillar and the friend and the person that connects. And then the Nine of Pentacles is in the head space, which is it's like they're opposite meanings. I mean, because this is about connection, but this is about your independence. And like, it's actually like someone successfully self-employed usually, or someone that is really comfortable in themselves. But because of where it is, it's also like speaks to the way that you dress and what you wear. And I think like your tattoos and all these things as being like a part of you and symbolic of you. I mean, do you have a new business, a new project coming?
Well, we got new projects coming up.
We do. We are going to start doing clothing for Awaken.
This is they're talking about a whole new business that is going to be very successful. Like probably this new project or something.
Maybe
and bringing it into physical form. So like a clothing or
interesting. I'm trying to think, because I mean next year we have the renovations of my dad, but I'm not sure how that correlates with him.
Time will tell.
Yeah,
I asked about that soul experience. So this is where the alien stuff comes in.
We have a lot of encounters.
So when I asked about, I was like asking his body, his soul, like what it thought about that experience, and that's where the like the alien, the astral. So I wonder. So what do you think? Like that? Like, well, obviously you haven't. Your souls lived other lives in different galaxies or something, like a star seed, right? You're like a star seed.
Yeah.
Interesting. Have you ever heard it? I mean, do you know about that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Well,
Do you consider yourself a star seed?
I do.
Okay, yeah.
So we had this, I think it was our first or second mushroom experience we did.
At this point, I don't know, but it was one of our mushroom experiences.
It basically took me to that life where I come from. But the reason that I'm here on Earth was because my planet was destroyed. So it no longer existed, but in order for my spirit to continue living, I came here. I had to fulfill my duty here on Earth, because my duty on the planet where I was, it got destroyed. At least that's what, what came to me, what it showed me. But
She's rolling the dice.
What about, do you feel like you meet people who also lived on that planet before? Or do you feel like, have you ever met anyone like that?
You know what's crazy? I feel like I feel like she's also from that planet.
I have a similar, not that, but I mean, I have like a past life where everything got destroyed.
Interesting.
That made me, I guess, in this life, I fear of losing everything because of it.
Oh, yeah. I feel like he has the same thing. I feel like I'm just kind of like, next.
Aquarius.
tornado.
Right, exactly. It's like, all right.
That's
That was
interesting.
interesting. Yeah. Well, actually, so what it told me was like financial success is coming your way. I mean, I'm sure it's
love
already
that.
there, but
Yeah.
but it was like you have a new job or like a new project that's going to be very fruitful. That is going to be financially successful.
Interesting.
Send my cards for next year coming up for the horse year. 'Cause
Horse
we're in
year.
a snake year, which is
Oh my gosh, I'm
Yeah.
ready for it to end.
I think everybody is.
Everything has like just dissolved out of my life, like either naturally or like by force.
Yeah.
So it was like,
Yeah.
okay,
Yeah. I mean, I think that's everybody. And you're like ending the year too with people, maybe even like with things that you never thought you were not going to end things with, or it's just
No
insane.
idea. I
Yeah.
had
You're
no
like,
idea.
wow, thanks. You
Yeah.
know, we had done like, we like to do yearly mushroom trips. Like once like the first hits, we kind of like to see how the year is looking ahead. Cause I get a lot of access through the numbers when I'm doing mushrooms. And when I see the numbers, I can kind of like right away be like, this year is gonna be good, this year is gonna be good, this one, oh guys, we need to be careful on this year, you know. And like I can kind of see between like the months and everything. It's like, you know how like when Doctor Strange is like going through like the timelines and he kind of like can see it. It's kind of how my head works when I'm in the quantum field, and I can kind of like see everything and pick everything out. And I feel like everybody can do it, right?
yeah.
But usually that we had done that in the beginning of the year for my birthday. We went to Sedona, and then we did about 3.3 grams of mushrooms. That was the longest trip of my life. It was literally about 12 hours that we were on a trip. Just like started maybe like 7 p.m. Maybe like around 7 p.m. Around 7
maybe
p.m.
sooner. I think it was maybe like 6. Yeah, it was about 7.
About 7, right? Yeah, and we ended up doing it for straight 12 hours, and we had gotten so much information that we ended up having a lot of connection with the Galactic Federation. But it was probably one of the coolest. We ended up seeing a lot of the things that ended up happening, which was a lot of deaths. A lot of deaths. I remember I was like grieving it because I was grieving the world, because a lot of things are dying, but it's necessary because of the way that the world is moving into the new dimensions. I'm like, it's okay, because we are meant to shift into this timeline now, and we're gonna be perfectly fine. Like, it's just sad. To me, it was just so sad, because I was like, damn, like some people just didn't make it, and that's really, really sad, you know. But anyways, that was very interesting. Wow. And how did you start getting into like tarot and the dice?
So, well, the tarot. So I grew up Catholic.
Oh wow. Okay.
But growing up in New Orleans, there's like St. Louis Cathedral, and you walk out the cathedral and there's like 5 tables of tarot card readers, you know? So tarot is all over the French Quarter.
Really?
So I was exposed to it really young, and also like alternative spirituality. So even though I was Catholic and I went to Catholic schools, it was around, and I had remember sleeping at a friend's house, and her mom had tarot cards.
Oh, that's
And so I was always really curious about it, but then had like this relationship with it of using it and throwing it away, and then like, you know, like not knowing if it was like opening a portal to something dark, you know. And I started studying it and using it every day about like 25 years ago.
Oh, wow.
And I have
Yeah.
every journal of every card I've pulled for every day of my life,
Wow.
at that time. And there was a period of time in my 20s where the thing is that there's like all this, like, well, I experienced until recently, like the last 5 years, I would say, I like don't have this like weird relationship with the tools. But as a psychic, you're like, why do you need the tools? Like, why do you need to use them? And the thing is, I got rid of them and I just was even more psychic. So it was like, but to me, they're different languages.
Yeah.
It's like, so like, this is a language, astrology is a language. They're all different languages. And so it's like hearing a song in different key, different notes with different singers. To me, it's exciting and I pick up really fast, like different modalities. Like I can get a deck that is an alchemy deck that's 144 cards and have the whole thing memorized in like a day, or 3 days or something. I can't do basic math. But I can do that. I cannot add. I can't do that. But as far as like tarot and even yoga classes and memorizing classes and I just have a really quick,
Wow.
I can pick it up really quick.
That's
and I can
awesome.
find the patterns really quickly in certain decks and things.
That's
but I use a
really good.
traditional tarot deck. But so it started a long time ago. And then 10 years ago on January 28th, that is when I started the Wise Unicorn. And what happened is when I was pregnant really young, and I had my son. I was like 20 years old. My pregnancy, I worked at this store called Crystal Alley Emporium. Have you ever heard of that in Vegas?
No.
So it's like a psychic shop, and I worked retail there.
Oh, okay.
And because I was pregnant and I was like, I just want to, be in this environment, and I liked it, and it gave me something to do. And so, before that, I was like in shows and a dancer. And so I worked in that shop and I got to see a lot. I got to experience a lot, and I had a lot of paranormal experiences that happened in that store and while I was pregnant with my son.
Wow.
And then 10 years later, when I decided to become a psychic, I went back to that same store and became a reader. And it was my decision to become a reader wasn't to have a career in doing it or anything like that. But I just thought to myself, this is a part of me. Like, I felt like I was dying unless I was doing it. And I would just read all my friends and family members. And if we went anywhere in public, like so I do psychometry. So I'd hold objects. So and that I would do as a kid before tarot, actually. So my parents would take me to parties and things, and I would be in the corner with a 40-year-old holding their watch, giving them a reading. And it would be like a trick almost, which is still like that. I still got hired for parties, and I cannot believe it I did that as a kid. And now as an adult, I'm still doing the exact same thing I did in these social situations where people are drinking and stuff, which isn't like, obviously that is not the environment you want to be accessing spirit, right?
Yeah, that is
But I'm like, why am I always in that environment though? Why am I always being put in those situations? And I have these profound experiences with people, and they're in social gatherings, and I don't know why or if it's a past life or whatever, but it's happened since I was a kid.
Wow.
And then, but I was like, okay, I have to do it as a job in order to reach as many people as I can. And that's when you really find out, like doing it in work. That's when I knew I was a medium, like with absolute clarity. And just, and I looked at it like, this is a lifelong journey and this is my school. And I knew like I was mastering something that was like a school to me, and I was learning.
That's so awesome. Wow.
Do you ever get like, how you were saying you can touch objects or maybe possibly even like handshakes too? I assume you can also get readings that way. You ever get like overstimulated or like overflow of information that sometimes
that's why I wear a hat.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And there's different types of empathy, right? So there's like the empathy where we sit next to each other and we can feel each other, or the empathy of you're going to, how you're going to feel before you walk into a room, or the empathy of you can feel like a group of people or a collective. And so many years of my life would be totally disoriented going into situations and picking up energies from people. And now I'm like, everything's fine, but it's not, because I'm wearing stuff over my head every time I go outside. And there'll be occasions I don't, but my head, ever since I started doing readings like full time professionally, it's like night and day difference of how I feel if I have my head protected or not. And I will also listen to violins. I'll listen to strings. So if I'm walking through a casino, oftentimes I'll have strings playing. Or if I'm in a grocery store, which I hate going to, and I try to DoorDash as much as possible, but grocery stores really freak me out. I'm going to be honest.
Wow. Is that from a past life?
No, it's the information and the energy. So it's all the people in there, and then it's all the labels that are coming at me along with all the people. And it's a grocery store, actually, for me, carries so many frequencies that I almost feel sick sometimes when I'm in there. And so I'm like in and out. I'm listening to something that is keeping me focused, or I just don't go.
That's interesting that you say that, because now that I think about it, I really dread to go to a lot of Mexican grocery stores. And I feel that it's because I know that vibration and I've experienced that vibration before. And it's like, now that I think about it, it's more of a, like how you're saying, like you're just so sensitive to it now, because you know that a lot of my people are like us Mexicans. We have this victim mentality, and it's horrible. And a lot of Mexicans carry that. And you can just tell by when you go to a store who still carries that energy and like the information you get and all of that. I personally hate going to a grocery store. Yeah. Even sometimes when he tells me, "Oh, can you stop by the store?" When I'm getting off work, and I'm like, no, because I already did my whole day of work, and the last thing I want is to go to a grocery store. Like, growing up, I just did not like going.
Soul sucking.
Yeah, it is. And then even when I would go to the mall, when even younger, people would be like, "Oh, it's so much fun." I'd be like, "I hate it. I truly hated it." I would come back home with a headache. I would have a headache. I'll right away fall asleep as soon as we came back from the mall, and I'll be like, "I hate going to the mall," But I had to go buy my new fits for the school and stuff. But I hated going to the mall. Like, now if I try to anything, I just try to order everything online. You really don't see me outside because it's very hard for me, but maybe I should start wearing hats.
Well, and if you look at, so many cultures, well, and what a lot of my spirituality and practices came through my dreams, and it was something I always did. And then I had to go find evidence of it, and there's, wearing a head covering is in many cultures and religions.
It is.
And I meet so many women that I give readings to that think they're sick, and they have like this mystery illness. And I'm like, "You're psychic." Like, just stop.
Stop.
You're actually psychic. There's nothing wrong with you. And if you treat it like that, you're probably going to find peace.
Wow. That's interesting. Wow. No, I never thought I was crazy or if I was sick. I was like, yeah, I already know. It's cool.
For me, it's just like, it's a completely different.
That's interesting.
Yeah, because we receive receptors through the crown.
Mm-hmm.
So obviously, putting something to cover it will reduce that overflow of information coming in.
I'm gonna do it for work. I'm gonna do it for everything. I'll be like,
I used to go to sleep and put them on my head at night because the spirits would come in my room, and I would be like, no. And recently,
wow.
I had a spirit, but that I judged, though. That was
I judged
the spirit that kept coming to me, and I was like, not now. And it was like standing outside my bathroom like multiple times, and then finally I was like, why are you here? And then I'm like, oh. You're helping me with a family member, and you're actually an angel. And but it was somebody that I knew had passed. I knew them, and I was judging them based off of their human experience. And I wasn't. I was like, why do they keep showing up? And I actually thought they were showing up for someone else. I didn't even think it was me or my situation, or if that was even possible.
Getting comfortable. Look at him.
And then I asked, but you always have to ask. Like, you always have to invite it in, and that's where I'm willing to ask the questions, in anybody's life to go to the darkest, deepest places. And I approach it in a curious way in order to turn it into the light.
Wow, that's insane. Why do you want to come over here? Get down. No, come on. No.
And these dreams, how you said you had this dream, to you, how can you describe these dreams? Obviously for me, like when I get these dreams, astral projections, everybody has a different name for them, but they all have different meanings. For me, most of the time, they're usually like sleep paralysis, or they're different forms of astral projection. I guess you could say that's my main thing. It's always either sleep paralysis or astral projections. But how would you describe like how you see these entities or spirits?
Well, there's different states of it, right? So in my dreams, I have something called dream bridging, which I was always doing, and then I had to learn to study it as I got older to figure out what was going on. But there's a Native American that comes into my dreams, and he has since I was little, and he has black hair, and I could draw a picture of him. For several years, he came into my dreams, and then in 2020, I had a dream that I was outside by a train track, and I went and sat by the train track, and I looked down, and there's a black arrowhead, and I lifted it up, and it had a gold chain around it, and I looked in the sky, and his face came through and said, "I am your teacher." And I've actually been in meditation trying to find out his name, and I figured it out. It was with a shaman, and I said his name is Dancing Waterfoot, and I was like, "There's no way that's his name. He's like a warrior." and then like 2 months ago, I was like, "Oh, I'm gonna burn some stuff in the desert." So I went to Lowe's, got some wood, and I drove straight out to Lake Pranagat, and it was closed. And then I found this off trail, and it turned out to be this native sacred lands that was like a church. And I went in there, and it said the lake's name, it means footsteps on the water. And that was 4 years after I had that meditation, and completely denied that was his name, and still called him the teacher because I didn't want to believe it. And
he was like,
I find this off road. You have to walk into the mountains, and when you go in, it's 3,000 years old, and it has just been open a year, preserved by this tribe. And you go in, and there's places where you can pray, and on a sign, it talks about how it's holy land, and the name means footsteps in the water. And I about lost it. I was like,
oh my God.
And so I found an arrowhead. Oh. And then I had black diamonds put around it.
That's beautiful.
And I made it in gold so I could wear it all the time.
That's awesome. And, that's so beautiful.
Well, I had to Google it. I was like, why do you have a black arrowhead? It's worn around the neck to protect from evil. And most of obsidian. And also, before I became a breathwork facilitator, they bridged me. So 3 nights in a row, I dreamt I had a turquoise choker. And then my friend who makes jewelry sent me one for Valentine's Day. And it was about a month before I facilitated my first experience. And so that's lucid dreaming. I can go to bed tonight and ask if I can trust someone. And then I'll have a dream a black snake bites me in the foot or whatever. I use my dreams like an oracle. And so before I go to sleep, I always have the intention, like either I have an intention, maybe I don't have any intention. Sometimes I'll write something and put it under my pillow. And then if I see my hands in my dream, I know that I'm dreaming, or I hear my voice, and then I can lucid dream and kind of navigate and meet my teachers, and any kind of lessons or information I need for my next steps, I will bridge that way. I see things in my mind's eye. So it's kind of like a movie screen right here, and images will come through there, or I will literally see something sometimes. Like I can see with my eyes. I knew there was a man in my room growing up, and I knew he was there. I knew his name started with a C. I don't even want to say his name. I hope you're not following me. But my family denied it until we were moving out of that house, and the old owners came, and she's like, "My grandpa died in that house." And I was like, was his name? And so 17 years of my family telling me I was crazy. I was validated in that moment because I saw him every night in my room.
That's insane. Yeah, no.
So there's, things like that.
That's insane.
But I've been in intuitive skill building classes, and where you're like like the person across from you is on Zoom and she's holding pictures of people. And I'm like, is one of them S named Sarah? She's like, yep, this one. And I can guess not guess, but I can intuitively see who it is and their name just because she's holding it.
Wow.
You know,
That's insane. I'm like, what do I hold? Can you read my mind?
yeah, it happens sometimes.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Wow.
People can read mine.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, I can sometimes read people's minds too. I'm just like, I'm like, that's crazy. I didn't want to know that information. Moving on. You know, yeah, no, that's insane.
I've had sleep paralysis. You know how you said like when you dream and you wake up and you're in the house? That's happened, and I've met guides and things and had really weird experiences. I've seen a demon that way too.
Yeah, I've seen them all.
Yeah.
But the most recently, they've been a lot more better now. They're not us more of a...
I think he understands them.
Yeah, now that I'm more aware of the spiritual realm, they kind of like help me now in a way that like, not the bad spirits, I guess, you know, but there's the bad spirits, the good spirits, the whole in between.
Yeah.
But they kind of been like guiding me, showing me like the realms pretty much.
Yeah.
It's been pretty interesting this last couple dreams and sleep paralysis.
Yeah. The older I've gotten too, I can do that with my dreams as well. If I tell them like, hey, can you help me decide if I should do this or something? And then I'll give me a sign and give me this sign in my dream. And then someone's like, maybe because I thought about it or maybe.
The thing that you have, the reason why I knew certain things about your chart, I don't have the same sign, but I have the same thing, Pluto and moon conjunct. And so when Pluto and the moon conjunct, if you think of your moon is your soul, I mean, that's like just a fiercely psychic individual.
Oh,
like
yeah, because
you have that. Mine's in Scorpio in the 12th house, so it's like the psychic investigator. You have it in the 7th house, which is like, I mean, your ability to read people.
I can read people very, very good.
Yeah.
I'm like, sometimes I don't like it because I feel like I don't give people the chance to present themselves for who they like, who I feel they should be or want to believe they should be. And it's just very hard for me sometimes. And sometimes he's like, no, maybe you're just like reading too wrong. Or like maybe you're just like not giving people a chance. Like, why do you have to think about people like that? You know? And I'm like, it's because I just know, like, it's not something that I'm trying to be negative about, but it's like, I just know. And then they prove me right. And then I'm like, I fucking told you. Like,
I mean, I've been in relationships with people because I'll go in to a party and I figured everybody out. You know? And I will just want to talk about it. I'm like, I just want to say, and they're going to be like, why can't you just like everyone? And why can't you just leave it? And I'm like, it's not my nature.
No,
like I have to like, and the thing is though, you have to see the humanity in the crimes though. And as a reader, I can't help someone if I'm judging them. So, and you can't have an open heart with judgment at the same time. And that's where that Gemini energy comes in, where if I'm reading somebody who has an ankle bracelet on because of murder, which I've been in that situation before,
that's crazy.
you know, I have to see also, I mean, I have to be able to see them, you know, and I'll know there's evil or whatever, you know, I'll know that there's like darkness there. But I go right in.
That's so cool.
I go, and you can't, like, I just learned, you know, judgment. It's not for me to judge. It's not for me to judge. I mean, I'm definitely going to have values in my own life, but
100%.
if I'm in front of someone and reading them, then everyone's the same. And people worry about, like, sometimes like they're on Zoom and they're like, oh, I didn't get dressed or whatever. And I was like, I'm not looking at what you look like.
Yeah.
Like,
I'm just letting you know.
I'm looking at your soul right now. Like, it doesn't matter what you have on.
That
like,
is insane. Yeah, no, that's crazy because as a kid growing up, I knew a lot of my life the way it is right now. I knew my life was going to be like this. And I know how my life is going to look in the next few years. I just know. And when I was younger, I had like my first little boyfriend and I knew exactly how many years we were going to be together, how we were going to end and everything. And I would tell him, I was like, no, this is going to happen and this is going to happen. And then he'd be like, why do you do that? And I'm like, I just know. Like, I just know this is going to happen. And then he would be like, no, he will start calling me a witch. He'll be like, you're just a witch, like this and that. And I would know things. Like sometimes if he would be lying to me, I'd be like, oh, you're doing this and that. And he'll be like, no. And I'm like, why are you lying? I just know, and then literally the years passed by exactly how I had said it. And then it ended exactly how I knew it was going to end, which was 5 years into the relationship. I got engaged and I knew I was going to break off that engagement. And I knew that was going to be a big lesson for me. And a lot of it, me breaking off that engagement and never going back, was going to heal a lot of my past lineage. And I just knew I had to do that. And I just knew that I was born to do that. And I remember my mom didn't believe me because she was like, no, you're gonna go back because this is what we do in our culture. We break up and we let them learn their lesson and then we go back, and I was just like, no, this is it. Like, I'm never going back. And she was like, no, you're going back. And I was like, no, this is my lesson. This was his lesson. And we did the time we had to do. And now moving forward. And my mom never believed me. Now she believes me. She's like, yeah. She's like, you had that since you were a kid.
So Pluto, you have Pluto Sag.
Mm-hmm.
He has Pluto Scorpio. So Pluto Sag, though, knows everything.
Oh,
I know. So that can be your detriment too.
Yes,
So
I agree.
You have to do the opposite, which is
Okay.
Pluto Gemini, which is I'm curious. And you have to. So I have a lot of Sag that can be that way.
Yeah. But
Yeah,
it's so funny. That's literally my lesson that I've been learning this year. That I'm like, no, I don't know. Like,
But it's not. This is what you want to do. Your ability to see the future. You want to shape it. You want to use it as your edge.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not like I know all that will happen and it has to happen. You want to know the highest possible route and the right. It's like you want to the whole point of reading the future is to be able to give yourself an edge so that you can be in your best and highest timeline.
Yeah.
And I mean, I know too. But it's like control. Like, where are you trying to control it? Because
agree.
And being able to transcend, all of that.
It's interesting too because before we did a mushroom trip for my brother, I had done a trip for myself. I have this thing where I hold everybody in my shoulders, and I want everybody to go with me, and I hold myself very responsible in the way this time of my life in here in this realm is. And I just want us to all heal, and I want us all to be so we can move on into the next life with a better life, right? And I was getting to a point where I was getting very depressed of my own thoughts, where I was like, it's not happening quick enough. And it's like, I just know it's going to happen, but it's not happening. And I was getting very, very frustrated with myself. So I had told my best friend, and I was like, I need to do a mushroom trip for myself. And she was like, okay, when do you want to do it? And I was like, let's do it on a weekend. Let's do it on a weekend. I don't know what I need. I just need something, And so then I went into this beautiful trip where I was playing my handpan in our room, and I was playing it with her. And then out of nowhere, I was just like, dude, I just want everybody to have a good life. I don't want us to suffer, I want us to have a good life at the end of this life, and I want us for it to be fruitful, And so then I started laughing, I started laughing, but then that laughter became a cry. It was like, I was just crying. I have never cried like that in my life. Not even when I've done ayahuasca, I've cried like that. And I just remember, out of nowhere, I was hugging my handpan, and I was taken into the seraphim world, where it's all the seraphims, all the angels, and they just started their feathers started going it was so beautiful. The edges of their feathers were a magenta I've never seen in my life. It was so vibrant, and you can see the eyes everywhere. And I just remember ayahuasca showing up, her presence showing up, and she was like, this you need to let go of control. And I was just like, but I'm not controlling anything. And then she was like, no, you are. You're wanting to control everything. And I was like, but I'm not. And so I was kind of going back and forth with her for a bit. And then at the end, I was just kind of okay, I surrender, just let go. But how do I let go? And she's like, just flow. And so then she started showing me how you know how like the clocks before, they used to like have these like machinery where it was like that. And she was just like, you see, everything has a system. Everything has a system. Everything has a system. And you're trying to go against the system that is going like this, and it's breaking down. But when you let it go and you start flowing, look how easy you fit into the edges of the flow. And I was like, it was the most beautiful ego death I ever experienced in my life.
When was this?
It was literally a week before my brother's shroom ceremony. So like in October.
Yeah, a month for you guys.
Yeah. 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 It
Funny
was
too is that the last couple of times we had our ceremonies, I was like, no, like I don't feel like I don't want to do it. I was like, you guys do it, like for her. I was like, because I already had the feeling. I was like, she needs to do one for herself. But she's like, no, let's all do it. I was like, no, like you guys go ahead. You guys do it. Like you could do it without me. Like I can still play the drums. I can still do what I need to do in there. I was like, but you guys need to do it by yourself. And then she finally did it. And she had this alchemic experience. And yeah.
So did you let go of control?
I did. And life has been like,
how do you feel?
life has been so much easier.
Mm-hmm.
I sometimes still try to do that, and then I get back and I'm like, no, stop. Like, just flow, you know, I will be all right. And it's just been, life has been a lot more easier ever since then. I'm not so hard on myself, and I feel that was my issue as well, was trying to control everything made me be 10 times harder on myself on a lot of things. And I feel like that was like really messing up with my cortisol as well. So now it's just kind of like, wow, I just really needed to let go. Like, I don't need to control everything. Even though I really knew that, I wasn't practicing it. You know, it was really hard for me to practice it daily. And now I feel like I'm a lot more conscious about it, which has made life a lot more easier for me. So yeah, that's pretty beautiful. Yeah. Why are you staring at me like that? Yeah, no, but
This one's name?
Lyrion.
Lyrion.
It's like the Lyrian species. Yeah, they're like little cats.
Purring.
Yeah, he loves purring.
He purrs the loudest.
He purrs really loud.
He's such a loud purr.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you can create an expectation based out of fear.
Yes, and that's my biggest downfall too. I'm a very fearful person of things not happening, even though I know it's working its way. One of my biggest thing is fear. I that's my biggest
It's the
downfall.
biggest dimmer of your light and the most toxic thing you can do to your aura. Rid yourself of that.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think Aquarius, like a lot of Aquarius energy like you have, is like that. I
Really?
meet a lot of them like that. And I've heard that phrase. Like they want things to happen now. And the greatest thing you can do is like have time.
Just yeah.
like
Yeah.
I literally am like, I'm gonna do this the rest of my life. So
Yeah.
just be here now.
Yeah. One thing that I battle a lot with is leaving my current job eventually, where I'm just kind of like, I've suffered a lot in being in that field because
What's the field?
it's a legal field. I
feel like psychics and lawyers are very similar.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I work with tons of lawyers.
Interesting.
I'm around them. I married my divorce lawyer. I officiated their wedding.
No way.
And that came, dude.
That is so crazy.
I had an Akashic record reading, and she tapped into my past life as a Native American and made me go back to when the tribe was thriving, and I was marrying a couple, but that was 4 years ago. I never thought I would ever marry somebody, but I ended up marrying them, and they're lawyers, and my son works for her now, and he's a law clerk, and he's 20, and he's going to go to law school. And I feel like I deal with the soul contracts and lawyers deal with like the real contracts, but we deal with people's lives in the same way.
Interesting.
And I think that like someone coming in with a mess and having to sort it out,
yeah,
it's like similar.
Interesting.
I always connect lawyers. Well, some people do like in a negative way.
Yeah.
Like with like psychics that are gypsies and lawyers that will take your money or whatever. But I think it's very similar energies that we deal with.
Yeah, no, I ended up I I've been in the field since I was like super young.
What do you want to do?
I just don't want to. I want to, be able to do podcasting, be able to do more content, be able to do my clothing brand, be able to just be creative.
Let me see.
Yeah, check it out. I'm excited. Goldie, nope.
Yeah, mama. So they threw that at you too. That shit because I got fun.
Sag, this is like Sagittarius, right? And then I rolled Sag Jupiter in the 10th. Do you guys do retreats or anything?
Well, I mean, we do it for our families.
We do it for our families. Yeah.
Family.
Yeah, please help me out. help a girl out.
Yo, he's back on here.
Again.
You know.
Well,
Excuse me?
So, okay.
Kill my dreams if you gotta kill my dreams. It's fine.
No. I'm not going to kill your dreams. No, I'm not going to kill your dreams at all.
Sorry, everybody.
It's like, so,
Goldie.
well, so do you teach anything? Do you teach like workshops and classes or anything?
I've always had that in mind. I eventually want to do that. But I mean, I used to do Reiki on people, but I've never done like a class or anything like that.
Well, first off, okay, like the word career, I never even say. I
Right.
don't consider that I have one.
Right.
I don't even think about it.
Right.
It's not
Okay.
even existent to me.
Right.
And also, it's not about me or my experience or what I want. I'm a servant to time. And I show up where I'm supposed to and I respond to the call. They say that when it comes to your career, you obsessively think it's about you and that you're obsessed with yourself in this way.
Oh, that's crazy because it's true.
You have a gift. You need to start teaching. Like, and the reason why, I mean, as a teacher myself, like if you did workshops, like you put it together and it talks about your femininity, even women's groups, Reiki, your art. Are you either of you an artist or?
I used to paint, but I'm not a crazy artist.
But they talk about like you and all your gifts and that you're meant to be a leader and a teacher but it's like a lot of feminine energy here. And that you can have your wish fulfilled and that you want to fulfill it and that you want to do it, but it is so centered on your experience that's what's like blocking you from actually seeing spirit and that's telling you where to go.
Interesting. Okay. And that's probably one of the questions that I've always...
So how do you serve? How can you serve women? How can you serve your community? What are the best gifts that you have? I mean, even reading people as a reader, as a psychic, I mean, that might be something that you start doing or exploring.
Yeah. Which is funny because eventually we do want to move out to Colorado and do a retreat and help people and
that also.
Yeah. And that's one of my biggest, that was one of the biggest messages I had gotten. It was building a retreat and it's sending us to Colorado, and I just always get Colorado on my head. But right now it's what I think what life, I don't know if what life is trying to teach me is how you said not centering it on me, and this is why the opportunity has opened up about going with my dad, because that's going to teach me that I need to really serve others and do it for others and do it for God, obviously, because I always say God first and then me, but really put that into action and not just talk about it, but actually be about it, which I think the opportunity of moving with that, that's why it's presenting itself, because I already had gotten that download where it was like, if you're not getting it, we're going to teach you how to get it.
Well, but it's not even, because it's like, getting what? And also time, on a certain level is on a spectrum. So the obsession of when is very 3D.
Yeah.
It is not
Yeah.
like time doesn't exist.
No.
And so to be anything, so if you could ever have it, you can have it now.
Yeah.
And you have to become the version of you that has it. And the version of you that has it isn't freaked out about their job.
Right.
You walk into even your job today knowing you already have it, like that woman who has it.
Right.
And you will like vibrate out.
Yeah.
You will literally be lifted out of that situation.
Yeah. Which is so interesting that you say that, because that's literally the downloads that I've been getting, and it's like you're just confirming it, where they're literally like, be grateful, show up, and don't be. Literally, one thing that I've learned about this year that really has taught me is that there's no timeline, and whenever it happens, it's going to happen, and that it's already ours. That's one of my biggest lessons that has been this year. And that's literally what you had just said previously, where you're just like, just become the version that you need to become, so that can just beam out and attract what you already are, pretty much. Like what you said, it was like perfect.
And lasting peace can only be found within. You don't, you know, what is the Buddha says, don't seek it without, right? So that means you're not going to find it by changing the circumstances of your life.
Yep.
You find it within, and that depth within you. So you find peace where you are.
Yeah.
And you have to sit there and say, if nothing changes about my life at all, can I be content and happy? And you don't know how many times, you know, I was married and divorced, and I went from living in a multi-million-dollar home to this like tiny apartment. And I was like, you know, sitting in that room going, I guess this is it. Like, I'm just going to be, and I was working full time as a psychic, but I was making like $12 a reading or something, and having to work a lot in order to pay for my family and take care of everyone. And there were so many times I had that moment with myself where I said, okay, if nothing changes, can I be content? And the next day, like, the biggest opportunity came in, and like,
wow,
it seems like a miracle, you know, and it was just the full radical acceptance of it, because it's in 5D consciousness, right? So if you're doing 3D is like the duality, and if you're stuck in this duality and everything's slow here, and then when you start accessing 5D, I mean, the other day I was in my bathroom and I was looking at I keep my vitamins in there on the side, and I was like, wow, those are really expensive. I'm spending over $100, almost $200 a month on vitamins. And so I said out loud, if I meant to take these, make it effortless and easy and free. The next day, someone booked a reading, and I went and I never do this either. I never check out my clients, but I went and I looked at her Instagram, and her bio had the tag of the vitamin brand. I go, that's weird. So I get on the call with her, and I'm like, what are you doing with them? And she's like, oh, I'm an ambassador. And I go, hold on. And I grabbed all my bottles and I held them, and she screenshot it. She sent it to her contact, and now they're sending me a box of vitamins every month. They sent me the whole women's line of
insane.
That brand. But I have a million stories like that. It's not necessarily currency, but it was like, I literally just was like, if I meant to take this, make it effortless and easy and free. And I just let go. And I'm just like, okay. And then it was like, within days, I had the box of it outside that I never had to pay for.
That's awesome.
You know, and so that's like, I mean,
I feel like the way you speak too, it's effortlessly.
Well, your language is everything.
Yeah.
Feel it.
But your words are spells.
Yes.
And so when you say, I have fear, like, that will be the last time you ever say that in your life.
Okay.
Like, never say that again.
I do not.
Because if you wear it like a badge, you will never heal from it. If you wear this like, I have this, I'm always scared, then you always will. If you want to break out of where you are, and the legal field and those offices are toxic as hell, dude. And I read tons of people who work in that environment. And
yeah,
I mean, if you are going, and so you have to be careful being sensitive there too, and how that you're absorbing all that. And I'm sure you are, but you need to make sure to clear your vibes, but also what you think and how you speak. And so sometimes I'll find myself, making a mistake in the way I speak or think. And I'll say, I correct all mistakes in thinking in all directions of time, because sometimes, because if time is a construct and you're taking action and saying something, you're also affecting the past and the future. It's like,
I love it.
I mean, we're getting a little deep there,
great.
but
No, that's great. That's great information. I mean, I feel like that's a lot of people don't understand that that's literally how it works, right? It affects literally every timeline, whether it's the present or the future.
and you bring joy. Like who you truly are is someone that is joyful and wanting to bring joy to others and helping them find their joy.
Yeah.
And that's, you know, where I think that's where they say, I mean, you're going to create. I mean, I know that you guys have like transformative experiences with the medicine and everything, but the joy and the love and the connection is what like I truly feel from you.
Yeah.
And so, and you know, it's like, how can you use everything that you are in the best way possible?
Best way possible. That's beautiful.
And there's no shortcuts or a means to an end. And it doesn't matter if you're doing it for one person or a million people. It's like a drop of consciousness and it will spread.
That's beautiful. Wow. I'm baffled. I'm going back to the lab. I got work to do. That's
Retreat
awesome.
definitely like flew out.
Yeah.
Trying.
That's
the
interesting.
retreat was easy. The thing is though, so when you talk, I could probably just like machete your situation.
Yeah, go
with
ahead.
the
Go ahead.
samurai sword.
Yes, please go ahead.
Well, and be like, okay, well, I could probably, whatever you make in the legal field, I could probably create a plan for you in the next year. This is how you're going to make all that money and more. You know what I mean? Like just easily you just have to apply it. Because that's why I said, like, they say that you have the voice of the teacher and the writer, and you said you wrote your whole life, and I did too. So how do you take all of these things that you've learned and put it into something that is valuable to everyone else? Besides, I mean, the podcast, obviously, but if I was like, okay, in 3 weeks, you have to teach a workshop to women about
X, Y, and Z.
well, this is like their grief and getting over grief and sadness or whatever, like people trying to heal trauma.
That's awesome.
Or things like that. And then, and you giving them the tools and the support they need in order to find peace within themselves and be able to see the opportunities in their life and not let their past rule where they are or the future.
That's so beautiful. That's
I mean, I just made that up.
No, I know, but
Wink, wink.
but definitely, because it's so I'm telling you, like, you're like spot on, because literally everything you're kind of like saying is already what I had envisioned for next year, where I was just like mentally I'm preparing myself. Because like you say, like, I don't want to say it again because I don't want to say something that I already know.
Yeah.
Like, no. Let's not do that. Literally everything that you're saying is pretty much what, like, once again, downloads, where I was just getting downloads, and how you said, like, don't say specific words because you're just going to continue to be there. Yeah. And one thing that I'm learning
when
is
you call yourself something.
Yeah.
That is like,
yeah, that's like, girl, what is you doing? Yeah. Okay, got it. Yeah, but you're pretty spot on. Like, you're literally spot on, because it's literally thoughts and downloads that I have already gotten, even like in my meditation. Sometimes I just sit in my bed and I'm like, let me talk to myself, or let me talk to, like, my guides, and let me talk to everybody that's helping me. And literally everything that you've been saying, it's literally everything they have been saying.
You can help people connect with using the plant medicine or whatever, the starseed thing, the alien thing keeps coming up for me. What do you guys want to talk about when it comes to aliens? This is like the third time I've gotten like a download where I'm like, I mean, I don't have, there's
to go outside.
I mean, I don't know if we pivot from here, but you guys have, what is your experience with aliens? Like, what is going on? What is going on here?
Well,
Where do we start?
actually, you're actually the first person to ask us.
I've gotten sitting here downloads on your alien situation. What's going on here?
And what downloads have you been getting?
Well, like, especially, you, of course, and then, like, what's your deal? What's your relationship to aliens?
Honestly, so it all started when I was I'm just kidding. No, so I've always had a fascination about aliens. I mean, I'm fascinated by them. My brother too. If you would meet my brother, I think you would think he was so cool.
When's his birthday?
His birthday, he's a Sag. He's 12/19, 19
December 19th.
Yeah, he's cool. I love him. And me and him have always just like, we're from the same parents, obviously. So, and I feel like we just connect to past lives and so many other things. And me and him have always just been infatuated by them. Recently, which was the beginning of this year, when we went to Sedona, it was our first. I had already gotten a download before that where I was like, they want to see us. And when I say they, it was like the whole Galactic Federation. And this is the first time I talk about it because, you know, it's like crazy topic. But, and literally, I had told my husband, and I had told my best friend, because we always trip with my best friend. My best friend, like, she's the coolest as well. She's a Gemini as well. And she was like, oh dang, like we're gonna see like aliens and stuff. And I was like, well, if they want you to connect with them, but I think we're gonna be able to connect with them in Sedona. Like they really want us to see them in Sedona. Kid you not, like the days leading up to it, I would see a lot of UFOs, and I was seeing a lot of UFOs, and I would see a lot of different alien extraterrestrials, like not the type where it's just like grays, big eyes, and that's it. It was just like, I've seen praying mantis aliens where they're beautiful. If I knew really 100% how to draw, I would draw it. I actually had ChatGPT kind of make one. I don't even know where my phone is. Right here. I had ChatGPT create some of the aliens that I have seen, because I obviously don't know how to really draw. So from there, we had gone to Sedona, and we were like, all right, we're going to do like, for my birthday, we're going to do some shrooms, and we're going to like, you know, we're just going to chill and whatever. We ended up doing it, and we started connecting to Delirians. We started connecting to Atlanteans. We started connecting to a lot of them. I had already connected to a lot of the Atlanteans when I did ayahuasca the first time. I didn't really understand it, but it was one of the first lives that I did, which was Egyptian times. I was like a queen, and I decided to never have children in that life. I decided that this type of life, because it was I guess when everything was going to shit with like the aliens and the humans existing together. And I had told myself that I would not breed or birth any children that are going to live this timeline, because it was going to shit. And it's funny because I had met him in that life, and we were in love in that life, but we never were together, because it was just like, I have to be a princess. I have to do whatever I have to do. And I can't, because I'm going to end up having kids with you, and that's just not what I want in this planet. And so then from there, I ended up seeing where everything was under attack. It was like spaceships, and it was like different type of beings. And then they ended up rushing me. They're like, you need to go because they're trying to kill you. And I was just like, let's go. And so then I remember going into the tunnels of this the pyramid. I don't know. I don't think that pyramid actually exists in this time anymore. I think they kind of destroyed it, and maybe they might find. I've literally gone days where I research it. My brother actually has found a queen that they say that then she never birthed children, and he was like, bro, I like looked up, and he like was like sending me stuff like that, and I was just like, that is crazy. And I remember I went into a cave, and in that cave there was all the elements. They had the water, the river streaming down. They had the fire sticks all over where the water was at. They had people playing music, and then in between that water there was like a waterfall, and in that waterfall it became into a portal, and the portal will like, when everybody would start humming and they start doing chants, the portal will start activating, and you can start seeing it kind of like glow. And from there is when I had seen myself go into the Atlanteans. I saw Atlantia, and I remember I was like, dang, this is so beautiful. Like so much oceans, like so much high tech. I think it was like even better than the high tech we have today. And I remember just seeing it. And then from there, I ended up having a lot of guides that are from the Atlantean times, where I call upon, and they usually give me a lot of information. And then from there, I just kind of started creating that relationship with them in my meditations, and when I would see them, and then sometimes they would come down in my dreams and stuff like that. So then when we went to Sedona, they had told me that they were ready to present to me their friends, and their friends wanted to know me. And I was just kind of like, okay, like I wasn't scared or anything. And not only that, but when I was about 7, 8, maybe 9, I had gotten this ball. You can kind of feel it, like it's like around here. And I don't know if you know, I can't pull my shirt up. Oh, interesting. So there's this book in Dolores Cannon where they talk about,
I never knew what it was.
yeah, they talk about when you get abducted by aliens, they sometimes put something in your
Can you touch it?
yeah.
Like, feel it.
Oh, it's literally like mine. Look.
Is that what you have?
Yeah, it says you're right here.
What the fuck?
Yeah. And so when they in the Dolores Cannon book, she says that they sometimes implement things into your brain, or in, like, so they can kind of track how the human, they pretty much send you from their tribe down here so they can know how humans work as they help humanity elevate the consciousness. And this is why we come here, to elevate the consciousness, but we have volunteered to do it as in a human form. But when they come back and abduct you, is like they keep kind of like a track on the map to make sure to know where you're going, your thoughts, how humans work, so they can continue to also develop their information and see how the next few years look for humanity. So then I had never known what this was. I woke up with it one day and I was just like, what the fuck, it hurts. Sometimes if I press it really hard, I feel like a little electricity, like that. And in the book, it talks about that. And so then I was just like, oh, that makes sense. So that night, I remember I dreamt about some like predator, like the Predators, the, you know, like the movie. And I had dreamt about that, but I was like so scared. And then I woke up the next day and I had a nightmare, and I was just like, oh, it was a nightmare, blah, blah, blah. But then she also talks about how when you see them like that is because of the things that you have been implemented into your brain as a human. So you think that that's how they look. And they actually, the more I have gotten in contact with them, they're like, we kind of do like checkups on you, like kind of nightly, when we're not disrupting you from your daily work as a human, but we do daily checkups where we check up on you, where we check up your physical, where you can literally call upon them and be like, hey, I need help, I don't know, losing weight, or I need help on this, can you help me? And you literally, there's been several situations where my current job where I'm at, I'm literally been like, I need to learn how to do that, can you guys help me download the information? And the next day I know how to do it. I don't know how. I've never done it in my life, but I just know how to do it. And from there, in Sedona, I met the seraphims, but I met them in like if they were sitting, like if they were standing, like their wings were not up or anything, and he, like, there was just a big eye right here, and then his feathers were like his toes, and he was like, here's your next task. And he had given me an envelope, and then after he was able to access it, I was able to open the envelope on what it said, and it was a symbol to be able to access the realms of different dimensions, and to help people whenever we do like shroom ceremonies or retreats or anything like that, which I painted it up there. It's like the door, and then there's like a prism on top. And I painted that. So whenever I play that on a shroom ceremony, it really does help people like travel. Like, I used it on my brother because I had already drawn it. I just hadn't painted just yet. And they had given me that symbol. So my life path number is a 33. So it's a master 33.
My name is a 33.
Oh, really?
My soul urge, my heart, my name means 33.
That's awesome. Yeah, mine too. That's so cool. And so then they ended up giving me that symbol. They gave me another one when I helped my brother. I have not been able to open that one yet, so I'm waiting to see when I'm able to open it. But yeah.
So are you seeing them with mushrooms, or
I could see them without?
Like that experience though, what was where you saw the feather feet?
That one was with mushrooms. That one was when we were in Sedona. The first time that I was able to see them through connect with them through spaceships, see the planets we all own as humans, and how we create us doing kindness in the world and bringing more peace to the world creates new planets. Like, we actually manifest new planets that are created by our actions, and they showed me how that gets created, and it kind of like helps you travel through the whole universe. And they're like, you think humans are so hard on themselves, they think that they're not changing the world, but they don't even know that they're creating planets that are their home when they come back to this realm, you know. And then showed us planets where all our animals are from, like lives we've all lived together before. And yeah, from there I just kind of had access to them ever since then, and I can kind of just connect with them when I'm literally like in the tub. Especially in the tub is like with hot boiling water, I literally sit on the tub and then I just put my palms up, and as soon as I start feeling tingly, I'm like, all right.
I do a lot of energy work in the tub.
Yeah, a lot.
Salt water.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, and so then as soon as I go in there, I feel like time doesn't exist, and then I get out, I'm like, fuck, it's 12, and I'm like, ain't no fucking way, like, you know, like I'm like, oh my god, I need to go to sleep, because it feels like I fell asleep in the tub, but I didn't. I was like having my astral projections, and I was visiting different realms, and having downloads and meditations on things that I have to work on and things that I need to get better on and things that they are forthcoming, obviously. But yeah, and then from there I just kind of have been access to them. I'm able to talk to different ones. Recently, like a periwinkle praying mantis presented herself to myself, and she was like very sassy. Like, she was like very like, it took you forever. I was like, a girl. I was like, that's how you're gonna talk to me? And then she was like, it just took you forever to do this. It was kind of like, they kind of look like this, the praying mantis. They're like periwinkle. They're so pretty. And then there's this other ones that I've connected with, like this.
Oh,
They're like magenta.
from chat, or you?
Yeah, from chat. So I like kind of like play with chat until like I can kind of see the vision that I've literally envisioned, which is kind of like the clothing that we're working on for the podcast. So that's
Really, you look like that?
Yeah.
I love it. How
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah, so it's like, I mean, ever since then I just kind of had connection with them, and I feel like I've always had a connection with them, because I also had like an abduction experience when I was in high school, where I could swear to you it was so real. It was insane. Like, I mean, to the point that the next day I remember all my friends were like, dude, are you okay? Because I would always get ready for school, and so they were like, are you okay? Like, you look like you didn't sleep last night. I'm like, I didn't. And they're like, why? And I was like, and I just couldn't tell them, because
You wouldn't understand.
I was like, you guys probably gonna think I'm fucking nuts. And I was like, no, just I was thinking all night. Like, that's all I could. And then I told my brother, and my brother was like, that's crazy. And I was just like, dude, he was like, man, I always wanted to get abducted, and they came for you. And I was like, motherfucker, I'm telling you, it was traumatic. But I think at that point I didn't understand it, so it was scary for me. Yeah.
What about you?
Where do we
To
start?
write about your. Do you have a like Substack on these alien
Yes,
adventures?
I do.
Okay, I need
I
to
have
look at it.
I have all my journals.
I need to read your Substack.
You're like,
seriously.
can I do all? Yeah, I have journals on it.
Mine actually started when I was young too. Probably around the same age, about like between like 5 to 7. I would always see them, like see the ships flying around. The biggest one I've seen,
Lay down.
like really up close, was one time I was at a uncle's house. We had like a family party, and then for whatever reason I just wandered off to the front of the yard because everybody was in the backyard. So I just wandered off to the front of the yard. And I just literally looked up for like 10 seconds. I just see like a huge ship just flying by. Like, it pretty much like covered the whole sky from where I was looking, you know, kind of covered everything here. And I was like, oh, damn. And then that kind of like just sparked the curiosity of it. And then just, I guess from after that experience, I encountered my first abduction. And it's basically like how everybody describes their story. where it's like you just wake up in this room, you're like on a table, almost like a surgery room, but everything around you is like, I want to say like dark, but it's like dimmed. It's dimmed, like you can't really see much. And then I don't know, where you just see like the gray aliens. So that was my first encounter, was with the gray aliens, and they just come up to you. I have a hard time remembering like what they tell me, but I just remember here had like that mark. So that mark used to be like a, I don't know, it wasn't a mole, but it was like a lump. I had like a lump as well. I love extra skin, but in that abduction, they had cut out right here, and then the next day I woke up with that lump, but I had burned it off because doesn't matter how many times I would like put the ointment or anything on it to like have it fall off or cut it off, it would literally grow back within like 2-3 days. And I was like, that's weird. So until one day I just like burnt it off and didn't come back since then.
Interesting.
But yeah, it was that, the abductions, and then
How old were you with that abduction that you just described?
within 5 to 7, around that age. I can't remember exactly when, but it was within that age range.
I feel like they had abducted you guys for different reasons.
Let's find out. Let's find out.
Yours is more about the journey. His is to control him, or more about
I know.
him. Yours is like taking you on a journey. I feel.
Yeah, they really are, because I feel like they are somewhat guiding me.
I mean, I always thought I was an alien, right?
Yeah.
But the only thing I can say, the 2 times where I was like, something is really happening, is, so for several years I worked in like psychic shops giving readings, right? So the first time, it wasn't that long ago, it was like, what was like, whatever, maybe 5 years ago, 4 years ago, 2 women walked in, and one of them came in. Do you want me to keep going?
Yeah, I keep just gonna fix your camera because I think they moved it.
Just so everybody knows, there's a calendar.
She's so happy right now. Look at her.
So these 2 women walked in, and this one lady came in to get a reading, and she's sitting across from me, and she has white blonde hair like this, and it's straight like this, and she has big almond eyes that are like black.
Those are the
Hybrids.
Well,
no.
So, well, yeah, you guys need to help me with this, because so she walks in and she sits there, and she doesn't have any questions or anything. And so I'm like, okay, I don't remember. Maybe she did ask me something, but I rolled the dice, and I was like, do you work in some kind of institution? And she goes, I run a school. And I was like, okay. And I start like shuffling the cards and laying them out. And as I'm laying them out, she's piercing her eyes into me, staring at me. She's not blinking. And I as the cards are coming out, like, I don't know if I read it in the cards and then felt it at the same time, I knew that she was an alien. And it hit me. And I'm like, this is basically a fate question, and she's checking me out right now.
It's testing you.
And
That's
but I did feel fear in that moment, because she was literally like right there, right? And my whole body reacted, like I fully felt like there was like an entity across from me, and I called her out on it. I said, why are you looking at me like that? And she was, I'm just watching you. And I was like, you're not blinking your eye. Like, I full on confronted it. And then she wasn't responding to it in that way.
Yeah.
But I just like finished the reading as quickly as I could, and then got her out of there. And then the next person that came in, who was with her, all she wanted to know was how she could get in the front line of the army, because she wanted to be in the front line, and she was asking me how to get there. And I was like, are you trying to kill people? Like, why do you want to be on the front line in the army? And she wanted me to figure out a way for her to get there. And I was like, this was just so odd. Like, well, and the thing with the girl, like nothing like profound happened with that woman. I'm a Sagittarius, so I'm like, I'm going to believe that was an alien.
Yes.
And I'm just going to go with that. I really felt it like I was being tricked by the reading was completely fake and she was there to check me out.
She's probably gonna look at this and be like, yeah, you rigger.
And then for that was really odd to me for a woman to come in and ask about being on the front line of the army. That was weird. She seemed not human. Like there was no consciousness in her. Like or there was some kind of consciousness. It wasn't like this. It was more animalistic. And then like maybe 6 months after that, it wasn't an encounter like that, but I got 4 calls that day of people who were having alien experiences, and they were in different parts of the world.
That's insane.
And they had where they felt like there was a magnet like pulling them. They all described the same experience, and it was all on the same day. And they were in that place that I used to work at was really well known, and so people would call from all over the world. And I'm like, what are the odds I'm getting this all on the same day? And they all are having the same experience. And so for me, I was like, what is the mathematical probability of that? And they don't know each other and they don't live in the same state. And I was like, but they're calling me. And I'm like, is that the aliens wanting me to know that they're real?
Probably.
You know what I mean? Like that was like, I mean, and I've had encounters with all the other entities and dark ones too, through the phone at times. And so... But I mean, but I don't know. I mean, I've definitely had like near death experiences. I have thought I was dying. I didn't die. I've been in really traumatic situations. I mean, who knows, like if, and then I have these crazy dreams where I'm all over the place.
Interesting.
So, but I don't have it like what you guys have in that way, but I do have this thing that I have no idea what it is. And
that's interesting. Yeah,
like,
no.
And I've always been like, why do I have this like thing right here? But yeah, I don't know that I'm connecting. To me, that was like a really real experience. And her eyes were just like as like black, and she had white. So what kind is that?
Those sound kind of like the Nordics. They kind of sound like the Nordics. So the Nordics don't have a human conscious like that.
What was the pale skin or
pale?
Yeah. It sounds like the Nordics.
Yeah.
The Nordics usually put the humans to the test.
They're usually just up front. Like, not a whole lot of emotion.
Yeah, there was no emotion at all.
And they'll know that
you guys are freaking me out now.
No, and they'll know that that you you're reading them. And they'll make it known to you, and then they'll just be like, it's okay.
Yeah,
keep
that's
moving.
Yeah,
you'll keep moving forward.
That's what it felt like.
Yes, watch. Let me see if they kind of look like this.
It was so intense.
It might be the Nordics.
My body has never shifted in the way where I knew I wasn't sitting across from something that was human.
When you're near them, your body starts to, I want to say tremble, but
kinda
it's like
this.
I mean, it was probably
very similar, except she had bangs.
They either have very straight bangs or they don't have bangs at all.
That was exactly I mean, her body didn't look like that, but
no. They'll look very
the blondies.
Yes.
Yeah, no, her face was just like that. It was like emotionless, dark eyes. Her eyes were big though.
Yeah, no, they're usually really big. Like people that have encountered them, they say that their eyes are huge. Like they don't look like human eyes.
No,
and
they're like black.
Yeah, and then they're very like pale.
Yeah, she was pale with like white hair.
Usually
like it was blonde though, but it was very light.
Yeah, they end up kind of.
What are they for? Why did they come to me?
I'm pretty sure it's just about ego check.
You think they were checking me?
They're checking you. They're definitely checking you.
She was totally watching me. And I was like, why are you doing this? Like I called her though. Well, because I've confronted
and they won't have any expression. They'll be like, oh, exactly. I'm happy Yeah.
And she was just looking and she never looked at the cards one time. She was just watching me.
She was reading your energy. And you honestly, if you probably were to do a hypnotherapy therapy on it, you probably were in their ship.
Probably.
You probably weren't even in where you thought you were at.
Oh, weird.
Because what they do is when they do that and they entertain you in a way, sometimes they take your body in their ship, and they'll make everything else stop and make it seem like you're still there for the other people to see, because they can do that. So if you were to literally do a hypnotherapy on it, you probably, if you tell them to take you back to that exact date, you will probably know exactly what happened, and you'll probably be able to see what she was actually telling you telepathically.
Interesting.
Or showing you.
Or showing you. Yeah.
Yeah, because I think one of the reasons they also came to you was to find someone to trust.
Yeah. Usually people that understand the dimensions, they trust them.
So for them, a big thing is knowing who to trust.
Really?
And
Well, and I'm the path of the arrow is the path of truth.
Awesome.
Using total truth as protection.
That's awesome.
so they came to you to, how should I say, first check you, check your energy, make sure if you're, doing things truthfully, or if it was like, just here for the money, and then, on your way type of thing. But definitely trust is like a big thing for them. They won't have any expression. Like,
There was no expression.
to them,
It was so weird.
yeah, when you
Yeah.
when you meet different
It was like a human though, but I knew it was an alien.
Mm-hmm.
yeah, when you start connecting or interacting or seeing them, emotions to them is not a thing, because to us emotions are thing as a human thing, and the whole reason for them wanting to co-create with us is to understand emotions, because to them it's like a straight arrow. Like,
Some aliens don't have any emotions. Some aliens don't know what it's. So in the alien realm, being human, they wear that as a badge. It's like a badge of honor being a human, because you get to experience what's like to have actual sex, how to have emotions, how to lose someone. In their realm, it's like, yeah, they lose somebody, but to them they understand that it's not the end. So they don't grieve the way we grieve. We grieve in the way like, oh my God, we're never going to see somebody again type of thing. And to them, it's like, oh, they're on to transcend into who they're meant to be, and we'll see them again, and we'll know when they come back. And that's that. Like, they just believe that we just continue, and they are very much enlightened to that. And so whenever they have people that have already come from their planet to come here, they seem very high in back when you go back to your planet with them, because you were able to experience as a human. So now you get to co-create with this consciousness that you have with the same race that you come from.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You might think you come from a human race, but you really come from.
Oh, I know I don't come from
Yeah,
a human
yeah,
race. I always tell, since I was little, I would say it's like and even to this day, people get like so amazed at the things that I know and don't know. And I'm like, I'm a visitor here.
You're like, I'm just here.
I am like a foreigner on this planet.
Yeah.
Like there's some things that I do not have an understanding of that are very human.
That's awesome.
But there's things I have a really in-depth understanding of that seem not human, But it's one thing to feel and to be sensitive, but then emotions, they're all different things. And like, there's no spiritual practice that I know or have ever followed that is like, let your emotions lead the way, right? Like, but you can feel everything, you can sense everything, you can be sensitive to things, but that emotional wave is something that we're all trying to regulate. And I can articulate my emotions very, very well, but even articulating that can be too intense for a lot of people.
Yeah, I agree.
yeah.
Like emotionally avoidant people, you can say Merry Christmas and they're like, that was an emotional outburst.
Like, what are you, what's
like
so
I have
merry?
to speak a different language that they understand, that's
Right.
like not so emotional or whatever.
That's true.
It's not that my emotions, they do, I am emotional, of course,
Right.
I'm a woman, but like,
Yeah.
either way. But at the same time, I know how to talk about it. Like when I'm, when I'm having the experience or being able to name and identify what's going on.
That's awesome.
Practice.
Yeah, every time we go somewhere, there was like, you guys' energy is like different. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like the last the yoga thing we went to.
When we went to Breathwork.
Yeah, we did a breath work, and I don't know where we get close to the speaker starts crackling.
Where was that?
Oh, Quintessence. Yes, that one, Quintessence.
Yeah, we went there, and then everybody there was really cool, really chill. But as soon as we start gathering up to talk, and it just all the static everywhere.
And they started going "Ee!" everywhere, and I was like, "Oops,
It's kinetic.
yeah, I'm sorry,
but,
guys."
Going back to connecting with the aliens and all that. Yeah, emotions is not really a thing for them. Like how she explains, more of we know you'll be back.
But there is humans.
I didn't read the whole thing. You have something about an owl, right?
I have something about an owl.
An owl. Do you have an owl story? Or no? Was that in the paper that you guys sent me?
Well, I've seen it.
Oh no, that's a sample of one of our
the other guy.
he does hypnotherapy.
Oh, that guy. Okay.
That's
He does that. Yeah, he passed. He does.
I've seen in the dreaming waking state. One time when I worked in that store, there was a white witch who worked in there.
Oh.
And I was like, make me a candle that helps me in my readings connect with the deceased. Oh. Little did I know. She makes me this silver candle, and I'm like, I'm going to light this at home, and this is going to be great. The first night I saw, so my son, at the time I was married and my husband worked in a different country. And the first night I saw this arm go over him. They were going to put an arm around him. And I was like, what the hell is that? So what I've known and been taught is that in any entity that I see is I find out first where it comes from, why it's here. And then I become the one to turn it into the light or be the one to transfer it, whatever. So I learned that it was a younger gentleman, in his early 20s, that got killed, and he never had a family. And my husband was gone all the time, and he felt like me and my son were his family. And I said, you need to go. The next night, I see this 7-foot figure at the end of the bed, and I was too scared, or I was and just went back to sleep. And I was telling the lady at the shop about I said, I saw this thing at the end of the bed. She was, can you draw a picture of it? And I drew, and she's like, that kind of looks like an owl, Lauren. And I was like, okay. So I went back to sleep the next night, and I saw a 7-foot owl at the end of my bed. And this time I wasn't scared. And I said, why are you here? And he said, come out of the closet. And then I was taking my son to school, and there was an owl sitting on the perch outside of the house. And owl medicine in Native culture is about deception, right? Mm-hmm. It's the night owl, the night eagle, and people who have owl medicine can frighten others because they can see right through you, right? And you can see in the dark. And I was hiding that I was a psychic, which is deceptive. Oh. And it was telling me, and that is when the Wise Unicorn Instagram was born. And when I became I still wasn't even associating my name with it, but I started to publicly post about the Wise Unicorn, just even on that page. And now I have a giant painting of that owl I saw at the end of my bed, and he's always there. But owl medicine, people who have that in Native culture, they say it's a frightening medicine to have. Because it can also they can warn you about death and things like that. But the owl has come into my dreams different times to warn me of deception and things that I needed to be warned about.
That's awesome.
But what was weird is, so I go through all these things, and then a month later, it was Halloween, and I was on Facebook, and Time Magazine posted diedinhouse.com. The crazy thing is that we had rented that house, and the week before we rented it, I had a complete breakdown, and my husband was in a different country, and I was hunched over, in pain, saying something is wrong with that house and they're lying to us and we shouldn't move in there. And he's like, don't do this to me right now. Mm-hmm. He was like, you can't do this. Everything's fine.
Right.
So I decided to put our address in diedinhouse.com, and sure enough, a cop had been murdered, and he was in his early 20s, and I had felt it. That's the hard thing about, being a psychic.
Yeah.
It's there's no evidence, intuition doesn't come from facts.
No,
it comes from consciousness. So there's no facts, but it's just as accurate. But I couldn't believe it because I couldn't ever understand why I felt so sick before moving in there. But in Nevada, they don't even have to they didn't have to reveal that to us.
They didn't have to. No. That's insane.
And I just saw that link and I put it in and I was like, are you fucking kidding me? And so I had really had an experience with him and didn't, because she lit that candle and I saw that. I mean, part of you was like, am I making this up in my head?
Right.
Yes. I'm always skeptical of myself and my experiences, even though I had that and did it. But then when I saw that, I was like, damn.
That's interesting.
That's really
insane.
Intense.
Yeah. You know what's interesting that you say that, you know how the owl will say, come out of the closet? I feel like that's something that has been being told to me very often this year, where I honestly do get scared to kind of come out to the world with everything that I know and everything that I have to provide. I believe that I might just get afraid of what other people are going to say, because it's just, I mean, I feel like all my life I've just been like this, right? So my mom, they know my mom, and then obviously they know me, and they associate it with like witchcraft and all that stuff. And even though my dad's like super Catholic, we go to church sometimes too, and we but I tell them, I'm like, there's something that there's things that I know that I can't explain, because like you said, like, intuition doesn't come with facts, it just comes with consciousness. And I think that's one of my hardest lessons too, is coming out to the world.
Everybody's gonna say something.
Yeah, 100%.
I mean, and the thing is, like, what really helped me is, do you know Rick Rubin?
Yes.
His book, The Creative Act.
Yeah, I actually have it upstairs.
So that helped me, but I was out way before that happened.
That's awesome.
But one way of getting past that is knowing that it will happen, that you will get criticized,
100%.
You will have people come at you. I mean, there's a mind body review where someone called me a demonic witch, and I'm like, that wasn't even my witch class. She heard me talking to a student before, and that was a regular vinyasa class. I'm like, I'm a witch, like a way bigger witch at other classes. But they have that, like, she's a demonic witch and I don't trust her witch energy, and I'm like, I want to make that into a t-shirt and wear it like a badge. But great art, like, I think of myself as a spiritual artist, and it divides the audience. And and I know people that are like, I make content for them, for my haters. And it's like, and I've walked into parties. Like, I've walked into a party before that was like a very, I'll just call it a matrixy party, right?
Okay.
And somebody just comes right up to me and they're like, I hate you. Like, they just come at me and they just say, they have all kinds of things to say about me because of who I am and being public with who I am. And that was, I mean, that was a huge, like, a sadness inside my heart most of my life, is like, all I wanted to do was volunteer, which I did my whole life. I helped the handicap every recess and lunch. I would help the disabled children, and I sacrificed my whole life because this desire to, be a servant to humanity was so overwhelming to me. And that people would think that I'm evil in any way, or that because I can do this, like, it's like why, it's breathing to me. Like, I can't. And that's, when I meet people who want to do this for their job and they have all these ideas, I'm like, just so you know, I cannot exist without giving readings. Like, I can't breathe. It is a part of who I am.
Who you are. And
I can't have it any other way. And for anyone to think that my intentions are to harm or hurt, or they're coming from a demon is telling me these things and that's why I'm psychic, was just heartbreaking to me. And then now, I give zero fucks.
Yeah, you're like, fuck that.
I literally don't care. And I'm going to go as far as I can. And that's all I have now. I mean, I don't have any other identity now, but I had multiple identities. When I got married, I made the decision that I wasn't going to be a psychic, that I was going to stop doing it, and I was going to check off all the boxes. I was going to have the job, the husband, the house, the car, and I was going to do all the things so that I could be safe. But then, you find out, like, I became a yoga teacher to try to save my marriage.
Wow.
And then I ended up getting a divorce. And 6 weeks into being a yoga teacher, I was giving readings and yoga classes, and there was a wait list outside, and there was 50 people there. And, you know, and I was telling them, like, I hope that not many people show up because I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. You know, I was like, there's too many people showing up, and I had to just get it together. I'd never wanted to be a public speaker or anything.
Yeah.
But it just flew out of me. And even on, it's like there's something about, it's in my chart to be able to draw in people like that in groups. And so, and I think, you know, you just find your tribe. The more authentic you are, the right people are going to find you. And so that's what I really learned. It's like, I mean, it would kill me to hide who I am now.
Right.
I do go into conversations though. Like if I know I'm going to a dinner, I'm like, do I tell them I'm a yoga teacher or do I tell them I'm a psychic? Like, and I'll make that decision.
Yeah.
Because yoga teacher to me is still like, but now the only thing I have is the readings.
Yeah.
I'm not on the schedule anywhere. I have events like that are coming up, and it's like, it's so much. I'm so public now. I can't hide it.
You can't hide it. I was gonna say, girl, you cannot hide it.
Not for long. If I'm hiding it, it's like maybe. Well, my nail girl, so she didn't know I was a psychic for like a year. I didn't tell her, and I put earpods in, and now we have a totally different relationship, and she's totally a psychic. But but I really enjoyed the relationship where she didn't know that I was one.
That's awesome.
And I like, and I'll go to dinner parties and I'll wait like an hour and a half before they find out what I do. Because the second I tell them, everybody's phones will be,
yeah,
this is my chart, read it, tell me.
Yeah.
You know? And so I do navigate like how much I want to show of myself still.
Yeah.
But that's just like energy protection mostly. It's
you
like
have
mostly
to.
just protecting my own.
Yeah.
That's what I tell her all the time. I was like, you can't always be like a social butterfly all the time. I was like, you also got to protect your energy because you also don't know the type of energy someone else is carrying, and like how you say your experiences where people will just walk up to you and they say they don't like you, and we have those experiences quite often, more than enough,
you know, too,
where people just have a problem with us for no reason. Like we're like the friendliest, socialist people you can talk to, and out of nowhere people just switch up on us. Like, you know, it's like, well, I didn't think I said anything wrong.
Yeah, literally just happened not that long ago. And I'm like, no.
Well, at least you have each other.
Yeah, 100%.
That's really amazing that you guys have that.
Yeah.
'Cause I would always be with a partner that, like, I picked humans as partners.
Find yourself
Your alien side is like,
I need to find an alien because, like, I would be with a human and they're like, they have no understanding of what I'm going through, what's happening. And they think, and I've even had partners that thought it was my fault.
That's insane.
You know, that like, it's my fault that people are reacting that way and I'm crazy and all this stuff. And I'm like, you have no idea what is happening right now.
That is stressful.
Yeah, we always have these conversations. Well, more than enough to have the conversations also with myself as well. And I'm like just certain things that we as humans do that I just can't process. Like my mind is like, why do we do this? Like I always have a conversation with her. I was like, I don't understand. Like I'm trying to process it. I'm trying to understand it. Just I can't.
You're Gemini. You're an Aquarius. You're both kind of alien anyway.
Yeah, no, definitely. We're
so do you guys like with the alien thing? I'm still on it though. So you intentionally like, or do you wait for these experiences to happen, or do you intentionally try to connect with them?
No,
A
intentionally.
little bit of both. They sometimes
often?
come. Or,
Yeah, sometimes they do come. Sometimes they come in my dreams. Like I've had where it looks like like a dream, but I can move and I can talk. Like before we had gone to Sedona, I had seen them come down, and I had literally as soon as I saw them in the edge of my bed, like physically saw them, I was just kind of like, oh, what do you guys want? It was the first time I saw those beings. They were very human-like, very, very different of what the Nordics look like. And they actually have somewhat emotions. So they feel whenever someone passes away. It's the type of race that has connected a lot more with the human side. And I had seen them before we had gone to Sedona, and I had told them, they're like, well, we can't tell you now because he's not in here. And I was just like, well, wake him up. And as soon as I say that, like, what? Lay your ass down, girl. No,
like, do me a reading.
Yeah, she's like, sorry, I want all the attention. No, but as soon as I said wake him up, he goes, and they're like, okay. And I turn around and I look at him like this still in this dream state. I look at him and I'm like, okay, wake him up. And they move him. And when I move him, he actually physically reacts. Like physically reacts, because I right away open my eyes and I'm like, holy shit, is this actually happening? I see him actually physically react to it. And when he physically reacts to it, I kind of like wake him. I don't know if I woke you up or I just like told you the next day. And then, but when I went back to sleep, I saw them and they're like, we'll just see you in Sedona. And that's literally all they told me. They're like, we'll just see you guys in Sedona. And then from there, I just see the like a light go done.
Like, so do you consciously, you're like, I'm open to alien contact in your minds?
For me personally, yes. For the reason of,
like, should we be doing
like,
this?
I know,
Yes, we should.
like, I feel like they're all helping us in a way, right? Like, same thing you would do with spirits. For us, most of the time for us is mostly like alien spirits, contact, whatever you want to call it. She's more visual with them. I'm more of a, like, the dream, like, I get more through dreams or through like sleep paralysis and whatnot.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, you have to get messages and downloads and things.
Mm-hmm.
And they want to connect. They're peaceful.
They are super
It
peaceful.
says they're peaceful and they get downloads. And honestly, what do you think about like the feminine frequency? Like the earth is feminine and there's, because this is feminine. The Empress is the divine feminine.
100%. It is. The earth is 100% feminine.
And
It's just a lot of shifts happening now that they're here to, well, one, like how we're doing here is evolving the human consciousness, because the human consciousness is already evolving, but there's still that battle where control and evolution are colliding a lot. And in order for us to transcend into the next level, dimension, etc., there has to be a certain consciousness and awareness that allows us to all connect. Because the reason is there's going to be a point in time where we're all going to be coexisting again. So this is why, like, all the movies now are turning into dimensions, parallel universes, quantum. They're, bringing in extraterrestrial forces. Like, we're seeing it much more now and more often in movies, continuously happening. Same thing with like different types of species, aliens. And I think they're like helping us prepare for that reconnecting again.
mm-hmm.
Not only that, but they're also helping us to they have stepped into the human to help the humanity, because if they wouldn't, humans tend to grow very slow, and the reason they grow very slow is because they hold on to guilt a lot. And what they want is to realize that the energy source of God is not guilt, and that they believe in source as well, and they believe in God as well.
We always say that's the most useless
Yeah.
thing is guilt.
Yeah, and they say that the reason there were so many wars and so many things is because people are just doing always guilt. Why do people turn into wars? Because they're pointing the finger like, oh, well, you're guilty. No, I'm guilty. And there was just too many wars to the point that this earth possibly will not exist. So what they're doing now is, as they're showing themselves and they're getting people downloads, and people are pretty much exposing that they're out there, is the reason that they want us to ask them for help. So for anything, like, they want us to be able to get those downloads and help the humanity. They'll even give you codes. They'll be like numbers. They'll be
it's
like,
codes.
yeah, they'll give you numbers.
So I do that in my breath work.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm pretty sure I was like, well, so I've definitely had dreams where I had webbed feet. Like, what is that, Atlantis or something?
It could be.
I was wearing
yeah.
a white robe that had like a gold thing around, and I looked down and my feet were webbed, and I actually have 2 toes that are kind of like that right now.
That's interesting.
I was born with like 2 toes like that. And then what I asked was, I was like, is it in our highest and best good to like intentionally try to connect with aliens? So I get the Empress, which is the divine mother, right?
Mother.
The divine feminine, and it's a yes card. And then I get the 8 of Wands, which in the Middle Ages, where tarot was invented in the Middle Ages, it represented messages being delivered by horse and carriage. And it talks about the message being delivered. And then the dice I rolled was Jupiter and Libra in the 7th house, which the 7th house is Libra ruled. And Jupiter is the lesson of about humans. This is about humans and how to connect with them. So it literally is saying that like the connection brings wisdom, and that we're supposed to get these downloads and these messages.
You can literally see them. You will literally, the moment they know that you're trying to connect with them, they're like super happy about it. They're psyched to know that they have either recruited somebody new or recruited somebody that they already know is part of their tribe.
I'd be curious for you to do a ceremony with us.
I know. I was just about to say. Well, and I think about like people always ask me like, "What's your purpose? Like, what are you?" And I know that I am meant to be a catalyst for the elevation and acceleration of consciousness globally, and I don't care what that looks like. I just know that that's what I'm supposed to do. I'm supposed to communicate as consciousness, and that, you know, accessing 5D, and if we all do it, we end up taking everybody with us, right? So you end up taking the rest of humanity with you, the more people who do it.
It's so beautiful.
And
so beautiful. The moment they have given us so many tools on how to move forward, even understanding the dimensions, they will take you through every dimension, not only the 5D, like
yeah,
12.
time up to, I've gone up to like 16 dimension where we're literally like particles, like tiny particles, and you can create anything out of that particle. And literally it tells you like this is how humanity is. Like you literally can create something so small can become something so big and create something out of it, and you can mold it on however you want it. So they'll literally explain to you all the dimensions because they'll take you to all of them. I mean, whenever you're ready, you're more than welcome to trip with us.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
I know.
yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
That'll be so much fun.
Are you getting messages from me or something?
Huh?
Are you getting messages from me?
I know she turned around. I've been waiting for her to tell you something because I
My
feel like
little antenna was like, no, yeah, go ahead. No, I was just, just curious because I was told about you guys.
yeah.
Well, no, as we're sitting here, and so oftentimes I'll get like a download on something
That's awesome.
and I don't respond. I have to say it a couple times, and I don't know if it's like my stubbornness or it's like, prove it to me.
Yeah.
Like I'll get the first download and I'm like, that sounds ridiculous. And so I just like wait, but it was like several times the alien stuff came up for me, just like, maybe you guys talked about it too, but I was like, I need to ask you about this and we need to talk about it because it was really showing up in a lot of ways.
That's interesting. It's so funny because
your work and part of your path too is like, somehow bringing that. I have 2 cats inside my shirt.
Yeah, they love cuddling.
they do.
Happy, I'm here for it.
I know. You probably need one of those. Yeah.
I mean, I probably had like the most upfront experiences meeting them.
What do you mean up front?
Like stepping into their force field. So.
I'm cracking
Not every day.
I know. I get it, girl. I get it.
But
I just want to remember this moment. I'm gonna frame it on my wall.
like, I don't know if you've ever like encountered like stepping into the realm. Maybe you felt this when you were doing the reading on the Nordic. But when you step into their field, which is their force field, because they can emit energies that trick our mind to seeing things. So like, for instance, maybe she was probably showing you probably half of her true self. So which is why you were able to kind of like see past the illusion of a human.
Anything.
You know what I'm remembering? Oh my gosh, I just remembered that. You know how you said that you saw that owl?
Yeah.
They usually present themselves as owls. And usually in the time that they're there as an owl, they disguise themselves as owls because you're not ready to see their real identity. So I'm telling you, if you were to do hypnotherapy, you will probably actually see how
I've
they
been
look.
waiting. I mean, I need someone to hypnotize me.
I'm getting ready to study it. So
I mean, yeah, I mean, I would love for someone. I've been hypnotized before, but I take really well to all. Yeah. I mean, I've actually haven't really tried a lot of drugs. I mean, I haven't. I feel like I can hold a mushroom and get high from holding it, or whatever. I can feel the effects of it. And Bufo was the same for me. I was like holding it in my hand and felt it. And you know, in astrology, my Mercury conjuncts the galactic center of the Milky Way, which is like the most psychedelic spot. And I think that's why in breathwork, my words are psychedelic, or people who take my yoga class, they say they felt like they were on a trip. And I think I think that's part of it, because there's other aspects to it. It sextiles by Venus and the 12th house and Libra. And so, but I mean, it would be a field day for someone probably, you know, because if I'm like this in the waking state, imagine, you know, what would come out.
That's exciting. You know? That's okay. Those are probably the best trips. Because when you have literally when you have all people that all believe and are open-hearted and open-minded and all believe and all knowing, the trip is it's unforgettable. Like, you're just like, holy fuck. Like,
have you guys ever meditated under the Ajna light?
No.
Do you know what that is?
Ajna light.
Ajna light. So Ajna, like the third eye, and it's like this square, just like it's a square, and you lay under it and it flickers light and it's psychedelic. So the first time, and you explore your mind. The first time I did it was with no mushrooms, and you are just like, what the hell just happened? Because you're looking at your mind. It's psychic. It like puts you through a psychedelic trip with light.
That's insane.
So then the second time I did it, I took a mushroom and I did it. And that's where, as soon as I went under, I saw this electric blue eagle. It was flying. And then I went into ancient Egypt, and I saw these pyramids and this king on the throne with the hawk head, and which is Horus. And I saw this light, and it was telling me about me and my son, and I felt my guide. I think it's my guide. I mean, I've seen him. I have a couple of guides. There's one that wears like a hood. He wears like a hood, and he has these like white hands, and I've actually like walked in my house in the dream state and felt like I sat next to him on the couch and like bumped into him.
That's insane.
And during the Ajna light, I felt him sitting next to me. Like, I thought it was my friend sitting next to me. And I like got up and there was nobody there, and I closed my eyes and he was right there while I was under. Now there's an app called Luminate, which is on your phone, which I have like a cell phone thing that comes out of my bed, and you can lay down and you can do the Ajna light, and it's not as good as the light, but you can have a similar experience. Ajna light. And there's been I have had really profound I think it opened up my my crown chakra, and I mean that's part of why it's so, because the next time I did it, I was on the floor. And like I started to reach like samadhi. Do you know what I'm talking about? Like, in yoga, we talk about samadhi, and there's two different types of samadhi. There's a samadhi where your mind is really active, and a samadhi where you totally disintegrate into consciousness. And I was under the light. I had taken a mushroom, and everything was just white, and my body felt like it was on a vibrating bed. And it was vibrating so fast, it took me a second to realize I was on the floor still. And then I saw this, like, it looked like Mother Mary, like all the way in the distance. But the thing is, with breathwork, I get to that state with breathwork. Like, I can do 5 or 10 minutes into breathwork, and I can feel like I'm astral projecting, like the floor leaves from underneath me, and I see a white light and feel the full body vibrations and everything. I think that light was part, and then I did Bufo after that, and then I became Breathwork. So but I think that light is like a key.
I'm literally trying to look for it. How do you spell it?
Oh, Lumenate. Illuminate.
Oh, illuminate.
And it's a psychedelic app. You're not, and it's, you can't drink and do it. You're not going to have the psychedelic experience. Yeah. But
I'm pretty sure I'm still really sensitive to those things though. The moment like there's any type of frequency that goes on, my body starts going like shaking.
Yeah, that's what happens.
Sometimes the cats, when I'm like literally like I'm just like laying there, I have no music on or anything, but I'm going under like a little minute like quiet meditation, and then they start getting on my chest, and then they start doing their purrs. I go into meditation. Their purrs literally take you into a meditation. I've literally gone through like the wildest meditations while they're either next to me or on top of me. Yeah, super cool. I have to look into it. I'm so excited.
Cool. Curious to know what your experience was with Bufo. You say you've done Bufo, mushrooms, ayahuasca as well, or not?
Just dreams of Aya.
She's like, "What's up, girl?"
Yeah, I'm curious to know how your Bufo experience was, because I did it one time as well, and I think that experience is what propelled me to oneness, pretty much.
Oh yeah. I mean, the first time I did it, I did a deep dive, and I experienced, basically the one and truth. And then the next day we had gone out to Red Rock and we did smaller amounts of it to meditate out there. And what was profound, I mean, besides the experience of seeing the energy around people and the whole thing, was that night. The night was, I was asleep, but then I like woke up in a vision in my sleep where I was running in the desert with horses and I was a horse. And I've since had several visions of either a horse coming into my body or me being a horse. And it's interesting to me because I'm a Sagittarius.
Oh, that's right.
And I already have the arrow thing. And I'm like, is this part of being a Sag? Like, and then, so that, I was in a really toxic relationship at the time, actually. And I think that was like a big, every time I've done Bufo, my life has changed dramatically right after. I'll just say that.
Oh yeah.
I've done it 3 times. I've done it 3 times. And the third time was in Mexico. And I remember I did the ceremony. We did a smaller amount first. They didn't start me with a deep dive. They did a smaller amount. And I just felt like this overwhelming amount of gratitude. And I just like was so grateful. And then I did the deep dive, and the biggest message was like, I don't exist without you. Like, there's no me without you. There's nothing without you. Like, we are all each other, right? Like, I exist for that. And that I was exactly where I needed to be, because there was always this question in my mind, because I did not grow up here, but I've been here so long, and I'm like, why am I in Vegas? Why am I not like in Bali somewhere? Like, I'm like, why am I not like vibrating with like some beautiful tropical island? And what's crazy about that though, is that I had that experience and I came back to Vegas, and it was my birthday. And I was teaching Soulful Sunday. This is actually kind of a crazy story.
True Fusion?
So I was at True Fusion, and I was driving to Soulful Sunday with all my flowers and shit in the car. And I was like, I'm going to make the room red. I'm just really feeling the color red. So I go in there, make the room red. I teach the class, and my friend Nicole, who I just married, she was in the class, and she gave me this divine feminine deck. And it has a picture of Mary Magdalene, like with a red robe over her. And it's all the divine feminine archetypes through all of history. And it's like this beautiful oracle deck. I leave the class and I check my Instagram, and I have a message from Lauren Sorceress, is her name. And she goes, I think it's time we collaborate. I had a dream with you last night. You were 7 feet tall with a red robe on, and you came to me giving me a message. And I'm like, that's really weird you say that, because I just got this deck with this woman with this red robe over her. And that girl had my mother's birthday. You know, I ended up meeting her.
Insane.
But a couple days after that, my girlfriend was in town from New York doing a convention, and she's like, I'm going to pay you to come to the convention and hang out with me at the booth. And she's like, just so we can hang out. I show up to the convention center. I'm there 3 minutes. She takes my hand and she pulls me into this dome. It was like in the middle of like a tent almost in the middle of the thing. And she's like, you need to work for these people. And I looked around and I was like, I don't like their outfits. Like, I don't, I was like, I don't know.
Right now.
I was like, I don't think so. And she goes, and so I grabbed a flyer and she goes, no, you need to go in there and do that. So I go in there and there's like a dome and they have this like psychedelic holograph and there's yoga mats, and we put these headphones on and we start doing breath work, and I start having the same Bufo activation in the convention center in this dome, exactly the same as what just happened to me in the jungle. And I was like, I started bawling my eyes out and I was like, what the fuck was that? So I go to them and I'm like, gave them my card and I'm like, are you doing this again? I'm like, I'm going to come back. They're like, we're going to do it at the rooftop at Area 15 on Sunday. Come join us. So I go to the rooftop at Area 15. There's 20 people there. Mind you, this is like a week after I came back from Mexico. All this had happened after Bufo, right? So I'm on the rooftop and there's a part in Breathwork where we do a primal scream, and it was cold outside because it was December. It was 12/12/21.
Oh, wow.
And so we're all huddled together and we're doing breathwork and we had to scream. And as soon as I screamed, we did a primal roar. My whole body disintegrated. I saw the brightest light and my mind was like, so it was similar to Bufo, but my mind was really active. And I was like, my mind is like thinking while this is happening. I mean, it was 10 times more than Bufo. It was 10 times more of what I experienced. And then she cued us through a scream again, but this time I knew to come up with a mantra. So I said, so hum, which means I am. And I said that and said I was able to stay in it longer and deeper. And they came up to me after and they were like, we want to train you to do this. And we're going to do a pop-up here at Area 15. And I was like, okay. They trained me. I still didn't think the dates kept getting moved around. I was like, they're not going to really do this. Like, it's not going to happen. Then it was like the week before the event. They're like, no, we're going to do it this day. And it was sold out, over 100 people. And I had never taught breathwork before in my life. It was my first time using a microphone.
Wow.
And then we sold out every event after that. And then it turned into me doing it for 3 years. And now I've done it for thousands of people. But that was Bufo.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it changed my life and my identity.
Yeah. 100%.
Like, and I think it was Bufo. I mean, I think that obviously it was me being ready for it, but the way breathwork came in, like, it's not like I didn't go there thinking I was going to facilitate. I never saw myself doing that ever. It literally was like, I was pulled into it. And then it was just like with the yoga, it was like, it was so apparent that I had to be there doing it, even though I felt like I just wasn't prepared and I wasn't ready and I didn't have the experience. But it was like, you got to like feel the fear and do it anyway. And I had to, it's like, okay, I have to show up.
Yeah. I love that.
But Bufo, I mean, that was like, after that, I wanted to get like toad stuffed animals and things and like get a painting of that toad.
Yeah.
to honor it.
Yeah.
Yeah, to honor it. That's awesome.
It's crazy. Yeah, like my experience was similar. How you said, like it propels us to where we're at today. It's the same thing it did for you. It propelled you to where you are here today. And like I said, those synchronicities start matching, making sense, divine timing. Everything kind of just starts correlating together. And that's awesome. Like I really love your story. I really love how that's helped you get, or
I didn't have
how
a
it's
choice.
put you on that path, you know?
I feel like I didn't have a choice. It was like, it like blew it open. You know, it's like in even mushrooms, I think, like it's like I just done a hero's dose, or a baby hero's dose, 2.7 grams on September.
It was like a 9.
Yeah. No, it's like, well, is it like 3 to 5? See, I don't, the last time I do like once a year or something, and I do mushrooms, at least, or more. I have gone periods of time where I was taking more, but not now. But it's like, even then, from September to now, my life looks completely different.
100%.
But I act on it.
Yeah.
I don't try to stay in the job that I don't like.
Mm-hmm.
I don't try to make myself fit into these things, and if I do try, I get bulldozed out. I mean, I'm like hijacked out of these situations, people or collabs or things that are not like the right energy. It's like, if I do try to hang on to it, I'm like, it's way better for me to just listen to what it says.
I love that. That's good. That's good advice. You're living in cat heaven right now.
I am.
That's awesome.
And once they cuddle together, like,
yeah, they like. Yeah, no, they love each other.
So did you see the light in Bufo? I mean, you saw like the light.
yeah. So, yeah, mine was just more of a light. I felt like I was just kind of just floating through the air. Most people say they get like different visuals, but mine was like, so my body and my spirit were fighting it at first. So like, I felt my spirit wanting to advance, but my body wasn't letting it, because it kind of reminded me of my NDE, where I didn't understand that at the moment. So I'm sure physically when that happened to me, the NDE, my body was like what's going on, right? So I was kind of like having that similar reaction, but this time being conscious of it, because my body was like touching the ground, like wanted to ground itself. But it's like Bufo elevates you to transcend from that, to be light, not the physical realm, the physical body. So at the first, I would say like the first maybe 5 to 10 minutes, like my body was really fighting it. Like I was in the trip for like 30, almost 40 minutes. And I was the second person to start, and I was the last one to finish. And everybody had already gone through their experience, and I was the last one to like come out of it. But it was more of like that release of being light, being free, no worry, no, just flow. Pretty much, it's pretty much kind of just telling me just flow. It's like you're flying through the air. I never flew through the air, but it's like just flow. Almost like if you're swimming, just flow. Don't go against the current, beat the current. Go with the current. So that was kind of like my experience, and then from there, I've taken that lesson. Just moving forward, just flow. I'm not. If you rush something, how she explains, when you try to control and rush something, you're gonna collide against it. So it's like just flow. Like things are gonna happen as they should.
I mean, it's really hard for you to settle down, probably.
Yeah.
Your whole like identity is like pushing has to be moving forward, and also experiencing.
Yeah. It's really, I don't know, man.
Gemini rising, and then you have like the stellium, like no wonder there was a tornado next to your name. Like, what conversation did we have? Because I don't remember.
I don't know.
Apparently, we like really connected though. Like when I look at the text messages,
I know.
I was like, we definitely had a moment, but I don't remember.
I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Because I was sending you like these like hearty emojis and things. Like I was liking you. I know I liked you. And when you sent it, I'm like, I already have her number, and there's a tornado next to her name.
That's insane. I cannot remember, for the love of God.
I remember the dinner. Like I remember we were at a dinner. Like I remember that, like, I think.
I don't know. I don't remember.
Yeah, I used to work in marketing at the Wynn, but I was a witch there. And they're all witches there now. They have like secret witches at the Wynn, because I trained them how to do it.
Really? That's so cool.
They have these cards.
You know what? You might be right. Because I used to go to the Wynn a lot, because my acquaintance, friend at the time, used to work for the Wynn. And she would invite me to like a lot, but I don't remember a lot of that part of my life, because it was like, no, I really don't, because it was around the time that my mom had gotten deported, and then I had to start taking care of my little sister, and I was going through like a lot of stuff. But now that I think about it, I'm like, I think you may be right, but I don't remember a lot of stuff around that time that I think I kind of just like blanked out.
Yeah, I can see why you put a tornado. I was like, around that time she was a tornado.
Yeah, I really was. It was kind of like before I had met him too. I was just kind of like everywhere. I didn't know what I was doing. I mean, to this day, I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm doing it at this point.
You're creating programs and teaching them in writing.
There we go.
Okay.
I do know what I'm doing.
Yes, you
Yes,
do.
I
You
do. I do. Yes.
Like, I need to quit telling people I don't have a job.
Yeah. Yeah, because you do.
I do have
You
a job. I
You
do work. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, and I work probably more than anyone. You know.
Yeah.
I guess that's another thing. I mean, I don't know how much time we have, but I mean, spiritually, what I do is I'm an entrepreneur. And you have to work like an entrepreneur. Like, it's a
100%.
startup.
Yeah.
You know? Like,
Yeah.
it's just you're the whole doing marketing and emails and just
Yeah.
I think so. All my years of working in those areas helped me to be able to run the event at Area 15.
I love that.
I ran it. Not only did I facilitate, I ended up running the whole thing.
I love that.
But I'm chill. I'm a chill.
Still currently there as well? Or are you still currently there as well?
I taught today.
Yeah.
The dog thing. So we're talking about like maybe doing more. This year they changed a lot of stuff there, and so but I'm in talks about doing more there. And there's some other cool event opportunities. This year for me was a lot going online.
Yeah.
Wow.
And it was like the snake. I did go to a breathwork sound bath meditation at Kintsugi Yoga, and as soon as he did the bowls, I like looked down and my body was a snake, and I like shed the snake body off of myself, but it was like pooping it off. Like,
Yeah.
like it was like this feeling of like this body coming off of me, and I forgot about that, and then until the end of the year, and I'm like, the snake.
Yeah.
And I definitely had and also I started doing more. Now I have agents that hire me for events. So I used to be an agent that owned a talent agency that ran events, and now I'm the talent with agents. So that kind of freaks me out, where I have contracts and call times and things. But they hire me to work I just have to come in and give readings. And it's at like the Wynn, Cosmopolitan, the resort, like hotels and parties and things. And I never in a million years would ever think that I would be the talent for that.
That's awesome.
Ever.
Wow.
So it's weird, but I was just choosing. If I wasn't choosing something that felt right, then I was practicing, and I was doing yoga, and I was meditating, and I just would practice and meditate and keep going every day, and then these opportunities and things would show up. And so, but I do miss, like today, I was like, it felt really good to be back in that room, and I'm like, I do miss the group energy. But I have to be called to do it. So I never am seeking out and trying to create the opportunities really ever in my life. But I don't know if that's like human design too. I'm a generator, but it's like,
Oh, you're a generator. Projector.
you're probably a projector.
Yeah, I'm a projector. She's like,
I
yeah.
don't know.
You don't know what you are. Yeah.
No.
But yeah. I don't try it. Like, I just,
You just do.
yeah.
I love that. Can you do a reading for us?
Yeah. Well, what do you want to know?
How does how does Awaken the Minds look for next year? Like,
Okay.
yeah, let's see. Let's
Well,
do
in
that.
what way? So like,
Whatever intuitively whatever you feel.
cause this is the way it works.
Okay, you tell me how it works.
Okay. So like, I'm putting these over there because you can have them. So like, so like, have you written out the things that you want to happen?
No, I was actually going to do that. I haven't done
Okay.
it.
Because it starts with clarity.
Okay.
Because if you're not clear about what you want, you will never have it.
Okay. I'm pretty okay, so I
So when
haven't
I
written
ask
it down.
about
Okay.
awakened minds, are you asking about the following? Are you asking about like what area? Because I can get really specific about what will happen if you know what you're wanting, like you want to know about like is it like YouTube listeners?
Yeah, like
How the channel's gonna do.
how the channel's going to do, monetization, yeah, and then also the clothing ideas that I have in mind for Awaken the Minds.
Okay. So very interestingly, I haven't even finished. When the Hermit and the Six of Wands come out, that's public recognition, like winning an award. Do you guys submit for anything?
Not yet.
I mean,
Not
this
yet.
is like someone who's getting acknowledged and winning an award for something.
That's cool.
Okay, hold on. So it says you will have some kind of new, like offering or new. What kind of content? You guys just do this podcast?
Yeah, we're doing this, and we also have the plan for next year is I also want to do more of like sending out a message to the world where it's not just talking to each other. It's more of like a storytelling type of topic where it's kind of like, I don't know, like shine your light, I know today you're feeling, or kind of like a guided meditation
It's like
in a way.
spiritual. So I mean, it shows that you're going to have a new offering, and that you are going to. So it's like, I guess you. So that's why we have to be specific.
I see.
So they're telling me the direction of where you're going and how that's going to happen. It does say there's public recognition and fame. I mean, it does talk about you moving.
Yeah.
So kind of like, I mean, I do you guys know for sure when you're moving?
No, because we need to get the rooms ready. My dad's house is like a mess. He used to have roommates where.
This might affect like what you got. You guys need to get on top of that. Like
Okay.
whatever that plan is with that.
Okay.
Because that could, and it shows up not really in the future, to be honest. It kind of shows up like right now.
Yeah.
Like there's needs to be a stronger foundation of what you guys are going to do next year, and you need to get it like lined up.
Yeah. I agree.
It does say you're going to offer something else, but there is some trouble of just the foundation needs to be more established. And
Yeah.
I wonder if you'll submit it for something, like you
Maybe.
submit for some kind of thing that you win an award for. But let me ask, like monetize.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Monetization. Because I
Sometimes it tells me without.
yeah.
Because we do plan on also doing monetizing work, affiliate work, different things we can offer, sponsorship element.
Yeah. But I do know that the whole house thing is going to take a step back, which is something that I'm trying to see how I can split myself in 20 so I can definitely do like content and keep doing everything.
So you have too much fear.
Yeah.
You have to get real with us.
Okay.
I think, and also, like it says, you have a brand, and especially like it shows you with the brand here, and it says that you're a leader, the voice of the teacher. You need to be teaching. Actually, it says that multiple times that you need to be teaching. But it says you're pulled in a million different directions, and that fear is holding you back.
Yeah.
Because even if you have success, like, so say this is maybe even a lump sum of money, and I would say that a big pinnacle or peak would be it's like a fire sign, so probably like Leo season
Okay.
next, like the end of the summer.
Okay.
Even if you got it, you would still be scared. The fear is still there.
I know I've literally tried to work with that fear all my life. To this day, I try to work on it. But I do know that it comes from ancestral times. It comes from like my dad. My dad used to have like a multi-millionaire company in Mexico, and because he was doing what he was not supposed to be doing. We had to move out here. Then they had to start from zero. Then he ended up making a lot of money out here too. Then he lost all of that the moment my mom stopped talking to him. And I feel that fear has just, and then my grandparents too, they've also had lands and people have taken it away from them. And I feel like that fear just follows me. And I try to like be like, no, like I'm not afraid, I'm moving forward, but I think it's something that's really been hard on me since I was a kid.
And what do you want? You want it to make enough money?
Honestly,
so that you don't have to work.
no. I think at this point, I'm at a point where, I mean, yeah, money plays a lot of it, but it's more of doing the things that I love, which is creating. And like you said, like being able to guide people, being able to do more of that. And honestly, with maybe it's just my excuses too. It's just, you know, with the job that I have, it's like really busy right now. And then I have to come home and have to do content. And then I have to do, a bunch of stuff where I feel that I just can't. And I feel like I am being pulled in different directions.
So the possibilities of what you can do is like you could buy your own house.
Mm-hmm.
Do you guys want to do that? Or you own this one?
Land.
We want to own land.
I mean, I wonder if you guys have like an office or a space or something. I mean, I'll say so what I asked was in your highest and best good. And
Okay,
they say
cool.
you need a team or to establish what do you have that already? I mean, it's just the two of you.
It's just the two of us, which is something I had already told him. I'm like, I can't do everything. Like
It's the Three of Pentacles. This is excellent. Yeah, exactly. It says you have too much going on that you can, there's a new beginning. Like this tells me the best possible outcome. So what will happen though, if you don't change what you're doing now is like you may miss this.
Yeah,
This is possible. Number one, through gratitude. So that's like the Power is the Four of Cups, which is like be grateful for where you are, right?
Okay,
and that's like I do 5D. So I mean I love meditating about money.
Mm-hmm.
It's my favorite thing to do. There's an app called Activations, and she has targeted money visualizations from 1,000 to 100 million, and I only just do 100 million like every day. Like,
I love that.
and I do a 5D meditation where the first thing they do is like, what did you pay for today? Do you have a roof over your head? Do you have a car or whatever? You know, it's like be grateful for what you have. And that's where they say is in your power position. But you have all the tools and everything necessary to create a team and lasting. This is like a secret society. So how would you, like, I would say the advice would be, it's like, so you have the Awakens Mind community. How are you bringing them together as a community? Do you do lives? Do you have a monthly membership that everyone can go and talk about aliens for a month on your YouTube or something?
No, that's literally something that he was bringing up to me, but that's the thing that I feel like everything falls back on me because he doesn't really have time to help me with a lot of that stuff. It's more like then I have to kind of.
Do you have a website?
No, I used to have a website for my other brand, but I don't.
I mean, it's like if you go on Squarespace, you can have the website, you can have, like they'll host your domain, you can build your website, and you can hook a scheduler up to it. So you literally can be like, you can do your whole website beautiful on there. You pay like $40 a month.
Oh, nice.
You don't have to pay any kind of fee to do this. You know, I mean, or I don't know if like to buy the domain, you probably have it. So you can transfer it over there, and just once a month, put on the schedule the Awakened Minds community meeting or whatever. We're going to start you need to be bringing the community together, and maybe, you know, they pay a subscription once a month or something. You know, everyone pays $25 a month, and you have 1,000 people that fucking sign up.
Yeah, sign up. Yeah.
You know, or 100 or 50 or 25 people, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Just, you know, because this is like a secret society. That's like a team, not just for all of you, but a team with your brand and you know, I think you need to start connecting
with people,
with a more individual.
Yeah. Okay. I like that.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know what you mean. My brain is
make
just
any sense?
My brain is just
and I will say that, like, I mean, this would be good. Like, you need to get this is what I do as a Sagittarius. Like, so like I knew I needed to move a year ago. So I wrote down the things that I wanted in a house. Like I want to live on the first floor because I want my bed close to the ground. I mean, I want wood floors, and I wrote down, I want a hidden door with a courtyard in the front. Almost as a joke. I literally was like, I don't know if this is going to happen. And then sure enough, it doesn't have a big courtyard. It has like a little courtyard in the front, but you literally have to walk all the way around the house into like this hole to get to the door because it's completely hidden from the street. And I'm like, I should have wrote on there like you can see the door from the street, because I was like, because I didn't even know this house was a mile away from where I lived, and I needed it to be in the school district of where my son was. And I'm like, the door is literally hidden. Like even, you know, like you have to follow the path to get to the door.
That's insane.
And I wrote that down, but it seems tedious to me to have to write things down like that, goals like that. I'm like, no, I just like create it. But I'm like, no, you are a master manifester that is not doing it. I mean, you are doing it. You are doing it. Yeah, but it's like, so even if you're detached from it, it doesn't mean you have to follow it exactly or that it's going to happen, but it's a good exercise to be, if this was the perfect business, what would it look like? This is what I want to happen. This is what, I mean, I definitely think you guys need to be connecting with your audience,
the community and stuff like that. Yeah, it makes sense.
Create a community place. And if you do it online, I mean, it literally, like a scheduler does all my scheduling for me. I don't, and if people reach out to me, I tell them to go to the website.
That's it.
And they do it all. It goes right into my calendar on my website. You know, they pay awesome. before they book.
Yeah.
That's just awesome. Transfer the money.
Yeah. That's it.
You know, it's like easy to do.
Yeah.
And this is money. This is like you having enough money to buy something that's expensive. It's like it says you may buy a big something that is a big cost or like a big ticket or something, like the debt is paid. It's like, but it's not debt. It's like something is paid. The money is here. The check is here. It has arrived. Like this is the possibilities of what you have are a lot, but you just need to be a team. You need to be a team, and then the strategy working smart, you know, when there's something like, because you guys already have an audience.
Yeah, we do. Yeah, no, definitely. I definitely need to write everything down and kind of follow it.
Well, and like in that meditation for the $100 million, she goes,
what is it called? Activation, right?
Activations. She's like, imagine the transfer. What do you do with the money? How are you going to spend it? And like, I never thought of how I would ever spend $100 million.
Yeah.
But then I start thinking about like my kid having like the greatest college, and I start thinking about like where I would spend the money. And now he's getting like these auditions where he's like, Mom, I'm auditioning for Netflix, and if I get this, I'm going to make $2,500 a day. And I'm like, is this my meditation? Like, I'm like,
you're like, am I manifesting this for my kid?
I'm like trying to manifest $100 million, and I'm thinking of you in order to do it like every single day. Or it's like, you know, when people are like, well, what would I do with it? What would I invest in? And I'm like, all I know is that the people who I am supposed to invest in will come to me, and I will know who it is. And I imagine the right people coming to me, and I get to create all these cool projects that I love to be a part of, and things like that, you know?
Yeah.
But I'm in it doing that work.
Yeah.
Like you know, the material world, I mean, I'm not a master of it by any means.
Right.
It's like I will certainly sit there for 12 minutes.
That's interesting.
Calling on every entity that watches over me to intervene in my life and show me what I need to do, you know, in order to create this for my life.
That's interesting.
And like, why? Like, why do you want it? What is the reason why? What is your why? And they make you identify it.
Yeah. Okay. I'm like trying to think. I'm like, okay. I'm just like, obviously, moving to my dad's house is like adding more responsibility, right?
No, for you, for him.
For him. Oh.
You have a different energy. Like you have a new beginning.
Oh, okay.
I think you're going to be like more creative and happy and content. And I think that you're going to birth the right thing. I really feel that. I think it will be work for you for some reason. I don't know what's going on over there, but I feel like you're going to have more work.
Yeah. I've seen it coming.
Yeah, maybe the expectations of my dad that he needs to live up to. I don't know.
He's just gonna be like
It's just what the new year's bringing. The horse year.
exactly.
Yeah.
Horse is fierce.
Damn.
And you said that it just said in the cards it seemed that we were possibly going to move more like in summer. It seems to be more like
I
summer.
can find out. What's,
Let's see.
What's the number?
6673
What's this number?
52 and 83.
Dot. Like.
May 24th.
Oh.
So
Yeah.
what did I say? Because of the move. There was something. No. No, I already know. You guys need to focus on the community. Number one.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think the house thing, there's something, I mean, even if you move, it still may be an adjustment once you get in there.
Oh,
I think
100%.
that you definitely need to have like a strategic plan as far as what's happening around you and maybe getting help, even for like from friends. Do you have like people who want to be a part of your group that you know that have reached out to you at all?
Like as in meditations and stuff like that, or
No, like on my TikTok. Like I have people who are moderators. I've never met them before. I've actually never even heard their voice. But they are moderators because there's so many comments and people. So they block people, they pin comments and questions so I can see them.
Uh-huh.
It just happened naturally.
Yeah.
Like all of a sudden I just got moderators.
Yeah.
And they're great. And
Yeah.
they have driven so much to my page.
Yeah.
And it's like, but there are people, and I've seen it with other groups though, that it's almost like kind of like volunteers, or they just want to be like help you guys out.
Yeah. No, we really don't have friends. So that's one thing we also need to get better at. It's just that we are just not out there where we, like, once again, how I told you, like, you know, like where the owl told you, where it was like, come out of the closet, where.
Well, it's like if you create a website and you can give your services, you know, you can do, I mean, I just think you guys need to be having a calendar and do
100%, which is
events a month or something. I mean, I don't know. I could like,
I 100% agree, because that's literally what I had already told him. I was just like, we can't like, but then again, once again, like everything kind of the planning falls on me, where everything has to get planned, because I'm just like a planner. Like I love planning things. Like one thing about me is like I love planning things, but it's just from there it's hard. I think that's where the fear comes from, where I just don't know
what
where
is
to
wrong
go.
with everything falling on you?
It gives me like a lot of anxiety.
I think that's your path. I think it's supposed to all fall on you. Everything falls on me.
And it's all supposed to anyway,
Like that story, like you're like, do I hear violins? Sorry. No, but you're telling that story and I'm like, what's wrong with it all falling on you?
it gives me anxiety. 100% gives me.
Which is not real.
Yeah.
And it's up the mind.
You know why though? Is me growing up and having to take care of my siblings and having to help my mom gives me, if anything falls on me, it's like I don't want it. Like I don't want it, and like it just, it just. So there's a lot of things that are wrong with me. I know it.
No, there's nothing wrong with it.
I'm kidding. It's a joke.
Wait,
Joke.
let me
It's a
ask.
joke. No, this is great. I love to learn about myself and things that I can get better at.
You don't care that it falls on you. That's why I'm saying that.
Oh,
Like you actually don't care. It's your inner, it's like some other thing.
to your
You're
human
addicted to
self.
this story.
You know what? I think you're right.
If you just like, you don't care that it falls on you.
Because I enjoy it.
You enjoy it. You're good
Yeah.
at it.
Yeah.
And you actually can have people come with you and it'll make it a more enjoyable experience. So you could like today I hired my son's girlfriend to take content for me. I had gotten like a few little indicators that I knew she would be good at it. And it was a last minute thing. And I was like, you know what? I need to get this content. So I got her to do it. And delegating is a great skill to have.
100%.
But the thing is, like, you have everyone around you that you need to be successful.
I do.
You do, and you're good at it. You're
I
probably a
do.
good teacher, and little things that you could do this. But I was curious because you said it multiple times. Well, you use as a deflector so that you don't actually have to show up. You're like, well, I would do that, but it's all on me. I'm like, what's the problem with it being all on you? You don't actually care that it's all on you.
That's really good. I like that, Picasso.
Fucking bring it on, motherfucker.
Yeah, you're
You're
right.
fucking ninja.
Yeah, you're right. That's true. That's really true. That's a good reflection. Wow. I learned a lot today.
And maybe there is some, there is a lot that, but you can, like, what the whole thing about the Three of Pentacles and the Star is that you can delegate. And the right people, you have to trust that you are meant, you're a feminine, you're feminine. We are not meant to just have this straight line that makes money straight up.
Yeah, no.
It comes in flows, it ebbs and flows. And when you're accessing 5D consciousness, do you know what my day's like? I go out to the park for like 3 hours and I run around while my kid's at school. Then I go home and I give like 2 readings. And I'm fucking chilling. Like, I have so much more time that, I'm working and stuff too, but at the same time, I have more time than I've ever had.
That's awesome.
And I was a workaholic most of my life. But the thing is, if you need help, if you need the opportunities, if you need they will all, you have to trust the right people will show up when you need them to.
That's good.
And when they're not the right people, you move on. And that is the path of truth. The path of the arrow is like, some people are going to be grateful for you and they're going to embrace you. And some people are going to jump off a cliff and you can't go jump off with them. You have to just keep going on your path and trust that and that's what they told me too, though. That like the right people come into your life at the right time and that you actually are stable, reliable, and consistent, and you do know how to manage your work. And so that's what made me question, like, why is there anything wrong with it being all on you?
That's true, because I do enjoy it. And
if I saw resentment, if I saw being like that, you were stressed, like your physical body, your food stresses you more than the workload.
That is so true.
Says fatty foods stress you, or whatever this food is.
That's so funny because recently I've literally
You guys are gonna be like, get out of the fucking house.
No. I literally, honestly,
I literally come in here.
I literally went. Right now, I'm literally on just like pure veggies and pure juice because food stresses me out. And I've literally told him this. Like, I've literally told him, like, chewing stresses me out. Eating a lot of meat stresses me out. And then he's like, how does that do it? I'm like, I just don't know. Like,
but you have to be right about being stressed out.
Yeah.
Does he stress you out?
No.
Not really.
Because I get 2 of Cups, which is the lovers. I go, what do you think about being stressed out? And I get the 2 of Cups, but this is a positive. This is the soulmate.
Yeah.
But you have the Hanged Man in your heart. So I think that maybe the reason, so the Hangman shows up, death comes right after the Hangman. How do you reconcile with death? Is by letting go. Why don't humans let go? Because of righteousness and need to be right, or having a sense of power in a situation where they're powerless. So like, maybe you need to be right about how you two operate or something with each other. Like or there's something about like, I need to be right, that this stresses me out. I have no power in the situation, so I'm hanging on to it.
Trying to think.
You don't have to tell yourself everything stresses you out. Like, that's a choice you're making. You're choosing this reality.
Yeah.
And you can say, I'll go in the car and I'm like, I don't want this reality. I will not accept certain things in my reality. I refuse to accept it. And you have to talk to the universe that way. You have to talk to your reality that way. But it's like, but choosing to be stressed, you're choosing to be stressed out about it. But you are stressed out about food, but it's not stressed out. Well, I was curious, like what you thought, like what was actually happening to you. Is it stress? Like, what is it?
I believe I do. I'm very a stressful person in general. And like I said, I think just right now, my job has been getting really stressful where it's like a lot and there's like
but you can choose peace. You can still choose peace. You can be in a war zone with missiles and have inner peace. You're changing. You're not that person who's fearful and stressed out anymore, or I would not be sitting here talking to you like this because you're ready to change and you're going to have a permanent change in your life. And you're going to shift out of this. This whatever it is.
What the fuck it is? This fucking loop.
Yeah, and you're going to go into your job like the sage, starseed, psychic witch that you are, and be empowered while you're there. And not like this whole thing. You're not a victim. You are. You want to fortify yourself with the empowerment structures so you can be in a state of presence and not be affected. And I promise you, everything will change.
It's so crazy. I'm only saying this because I literally not that long, I think this morning and then yesterday I was like, just tell me what I need to do. And it's like literally they're like, oh, here you are. And I'm like, that's why I'm cracking up because I'm like, that is so funny.
Well, and you're not so I want you to just, and you will, I want you to just think like all these things. I'm a person who stresses out all the time. This stresses me out. This is changing. This is not who you are.
Okay.
And you are a master at handling shit, and you can handle way more than you're handling now. But what's going to happen by you accepting that reality is you're going to be so happy with the life that you create for yourself. It's like you have Uranus with your sun too. I think you have Aquarius, Uranus, and Aquarius sun.
Okay.
So I have Sagittarius sun and Sagittarius Uranus conjunct together.
Oh, wow.
And what I learned is that shit's going to be changing constantly. I used to try to fit myself into a schedule. And I'm like, oh, I need to be like, if I have stability every day, that's what I need to create for myself. No, it's randomness every day. That is who I am. And so like, if you're trying to control everything, that's going to be really hard because
water, babe. Sorry. He's like crying. Sorry, guys. Yeah. No, you keep going. I don't mind. Sorry, he started crying.
But like, you have to. You also, I think the reason why the tarot works, and like on TikTok they shuffle like this.
Let me see. Oh, I've seen that.
Have you ever been to a casino in Las Vegas where someone shuffled like that?
No.
Tarot started as a card game in Italy, and you are meant to shuffle the cards, right? The reason why it works is because of the randomness, right? Because accessing that information, there has to be this random energy when you're being. I'm like, if there's a reader that doesn't know how to shuffle their cards, I don't want a reading for them. I'm like, you don't know how to do it.
I don't know how to shuffle.
Yeah, you're not really mixing them up.
Yeah, like no,
and
fuck that.
You have to be open. I mean, you are, but you have to be open to the randomness and the change and the things, and like not trying to fit into a box and a schedule. And like, you're going to be different, and it's going to be random, and it's going to be odd, and it's going to be all these things.
Everything.
The more authentic you are, the more success you're going to have. They go together.
Okay.
And there's going to be, and if you're successful and you don't have haters, you haven't gone far enough.
Yeah. I already have enough. I'm just kidding. No.
I mean, dude, there's all kinds of people. They love it when they come in on the TikTok.
I bet.
Because I fucking go off in there.
You're like, oh yeah, motherfucker.
Well, yeah. Well, and then they come into the live And then if I don't see, because every time I look down, there's 35 comments and I have to scroll up and they go up so fast. I'm like, I can't read
I can't read everything.
And they'll be like, are you purposely not looking at my question? I'm like, excuse me. You're in my TikTok getting a free reading right now. I was like, you have the audacity to give me shit in this moment, like, and make this about you when
they can't
I like go off on there and they all like send me like clap and it's like I use it as fuel and I show them everyone in there as an example of how to handle adversity.
That's so funny. That's hilarious.
I mean, I have every day. I need everybody to hold my hand and be like, you're okay doing this. But but there's also at the same time this detachment from my identity.
Yeah. Okay.
Because if Lauren is giving breathwork session, I'm too worried about what everybody thinks.
Right.
I have to leave Lauren out the door and I have to just go in channel
there.
And just
that's it.
Yeah.
Do your thing. Okay. This was a lot. Very helpful. Thank you so much. I do appreciate it. Life is going to be different. I'll be like, Lauren, thank you so much.
I miss the cats.
They're right here.
This is a Highland coo. I was married to a Scotsman before. And
really?
This is a Highland cow.
That's so funny.
His toy has slobber all over it. Right?
Oh, I know. She loves it. Look, she's like, she has her mouth open and everything. Get that, Baba. No. Yeah. But, okay. Well, are you ready to close it out? Literally, I think we're like 4 hours in.
Oh my God.
We're 3 hours in.
About 3:15 maybe.
No, it's
Do you post them all, like the whole thing? Are you gonna edit it to be?
She does the editing.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I edit it and then
What do you edit it on?
Premiere, Adobe Premiere.
Yeah.
I used to do it with CapCut,
Yeah.
but I found Premiere a lot better because
Quality wise.
the quality looks so much better, and then if you need to adjust the color of the background and stuff like that, it adjusts by itself.
Oh.
Yeah, so like it would adjust like how everything. So everything.
Adobe Premiere.
Yeah, that's really good. That one was really, really good. I recommend it.
You should do YouTube classes.
I know. I've literally thought about it.
Like you just need a website with a scheduler, and you can just start putting the stuff on there.
I know. That's my Sagittarius.
It would take you one day. It would take you 3 hours to do it.
That's my Sagittarius. I'd be like, I know.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, definitely.
Tech is her thing, though. She's a lot of Aquarius. That's Gemini rising.
I
know your whole chart from just looking at it.
That's funny. I really do love tech. Yeah. I'm literally the tech person at work.
You're the tech person.
Yeah.
That's you're living what you're supposed to do.
Yeah. Literally at work, I'm like, they're like, I don't know how to do this. I'm like, I got this. And like literally,
who do you think I'm gonna call? No,
I'll be like, girl, I got you. What you need? Yeah, I definitely I'm definitely love technology. Like my brother always tells me, dude, how do you do all of this? I'm like, I don't know. I just love technology. Like, genuinely love technology.
An alien.
Yeah, look at him. Oh my gosh, this guy. It was trying to fit himself anywhere he could. Where do you want me to go?
Right to the bottom. I don't even think we got through 5 questions
This
of what we had.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, that's good.
Okay, cool.
We had to do a part 2, part 3.
I told you.
Yeah, no, this is crazy. I mean, I definitely would love to trip with you. I think. Oh my god! Only
imagine what would happen.
I think. Oh my god! I think we will learn so
realms.
much from you, and then you can learn from us. But I feel like it just all makes sense when you're in there. Yeah, whenever you're ready.
Drummer. So
he is a drummer. He gets the messages through the drums. Well, we all get the messages through the drums.
So cool.
Yeah, and then it just becomes transformative from there. But your information has been downloaded. Everything you have told me that I need to better at. I'm like processing.
I just asked the right questions.
That's great. It's amazing. I love it. No, seriously, because I feel like other people, they just kind of blow smoke up people's ass, and I'm like, no, like say how it is, because that's how people grow, And
authenticity.
Yeah, exactly. Yes, yes, exactly. Like she's saying how it is, and she says it how she. Robin?
Yeah. I said we're gonna do more readings with you.
Yes, we are. I'll be like, I need to book
available?
you, girl. I have a question.
I'm gonna be like, I have this video to edit.
I got you. I'm
Exchange
like,
of services.
I got you. Just do this reading for us, please. All right, perfect.
Well, Lauren, thank you for joining us. It was a pleasure. So much information given, so much knowledge you have. I hope our viewers in the world can see that this kind of work is not as people would criticize you for it, which is, whatever, bad, demonic, witchcraft, whatever the case may be. At the end of the day, I truly believe that this is going back to our essence of who we are, of being one and being connected and grounded. And I think the world, since it wants to control so much, it changes the perspectives of a lot of us who don't understand certain things and make us see it as bad. So thank you for sharing your light, sharing your knowledge, sharing the things that you do. And hopefully our viewers can get a good grasp and knowledge of that. Obviously, we can get into more depth in different topics, but hopefully we can do another episode or another 2 or 3 or 4 episodes.
After a shroom trip. After our shroom trip, it's going to be
all
another
this
one.
information out. But definitely thank you for being here. Thank you for accepting our invitation to come on the pod. We're definitely grateful for you being here. And I'm not sure if my wife has anything to say.
Oh, of course. I do. Thank you, Lauren. Thank you for the insightful information that you have not only given me, but I feel like you have also given him, and you have given everybody in the world that at the end of the day, if you follow what feels right and what feels true to your heart, is the path to your divine life, right? And I feel that people sometimes get confused with that, and they don't know if they should truly follow that, because there's other perspectives and there's other people that tell them that no, that's not going to work for them. And you are a living, like, literally, you're literally giving people, how do you say that, when you're like a prophecy, like you're living prophecy? No, literally, like you are, like, like you're living to your truth and to who you are, and you're giving people the truth. And I hope that for the rest of your life, there's only love and truth for the rest of your life, as you deserve it. And as you are giving, you are a reflection of the beauty of the world and how beautiful it can get. So thank you for that.
You guys are like moving, very moving. I was like emotionally moved by both of you, and thank you for having me on, and inviting me in to connect with your community that you're going to connect with too.
Yes.
And your beautiful fur family, non-fur family. And all of your wisdom and insight and exploration and conversation. And this was really amazing. And thank you so much for having me.
Of course.
And you guys are both incredible. I can't wait to journey with you.
Yes. It's going to be fun.
Also, before we close out, Lauren, would you mind sharing your information where anybody can book a session with you, where they can find you and connect with you, so that, the community grows as we help each other moving forward, Or
so,
however you say,
do I say
forward.
it in there?
Yeah, you can go ahead.
Okay. You're pointing there.
Oh, no, it's because
okay.
Yeah, no, you're good.
Okay, so you can. So I have a YouTube, the wise unicorn, the wise unicorn with periods in between each word, and I have my website is just thewiseunicorn.com, and my Instagram is also the.wise.unicorn. And my TikTok is the.wise.unicorn. And you can find, I have my personal one in there too, I guess. Lauren, LAUREN .Noel, NOELLE .Salgado, SALGADO. Those are all my handles. And I really like, the YouTube, I'm rebranding and going to change next year, new season, giving more information about reading tarot for the different signs and everything. And then my TikTok, I go on TikTok lives almost most nights these days, and there's a whole community on there, and we have a lot of fun. So
I love that. Thank you.
Cool. Love it. Well, guys, book your session with Lauren.
Oh yes, thewiseunicorn.com.
That's where you'll find her. She's a unicorn.
Unicorn, yes.
As you can see.
Yes.
Well, beautiful souls, take a moment, feel into what was stirred within you today. Lauren reminds us that awakening doesn't require permission, only honesty. That mastery is built through devotion, that curiosity opens the doors to reality, that reality once kept closed, and trusting yourself is the most radical spiritual act of all. If this conversation resonates with you, stay with it, journal it, let it breathe, and remember, your intuition has always known the way. Be sure to connect with Lauren and explore her work, support creators who walk the truth with integrity. Until next time, stay curious, stay grounded, and keep awakening the minds. Bye. See you guys later. Ciao.
Bye.
Little wave to the camera.
So let's awaken the minds together.